Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining. We're about to learn Chassidus, Thursday night Chassidus, as our tradition has been for the last mind my ice, it's going to melt. Bezras Hashem. Probably about 16 years, 17 years, something like that. Let me just make sure this is not going to bother us. Okay, it's Pashas Emor, and in Pashas Emor, there's a mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. Where the Pasuk says, "V'nikdashti b'toich b'nei Yisroel," I will become sanctified amongst the Jewish people. And from there we derive that there's a mitzvah to sanctify God's name, and the real mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem is that a Jew is obligated to even give his life up, not to violate the three cardinal sins, and that's the ultimate Kiddush Hashem. But in addition to that, every day we do a Kiddush Hashem, we sanctify God's name during prayer, during davening, in which we say, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. The angels say, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. And we, the Jewish people, down here, talk about the angels' praise, and we also say the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. So the Zohar tells us that when we say Kadosh, 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 we fulfill what the Pasuk is telling us, V'nikdashti b'toch b'nei Yisroel, I will be sanctified amongst the Jewish people. Now, there is a mimer in Likutei Torah that we learned already a couple of years ago. When I say a couple of years ago, it's at least 12 years ago. It was still in Pico when we gave the class over there. And it was a fascinating discourse about the meaning of the 3 times Kadosh. And that time, I prepared this class, I remember a lot, and I was very excited to give it. It was an awesome class. You can look it up. It's on our Maayon website, Parshas Emor. I think so. Now there is a biur on that mimer, an explanation on that mimer, that I read today, but not. I didn't do due diligence on this mimer, I have to say. I learned it 12 years ago, so the original, and I must have learned the explanation then as well. Or I can't say must, but very possible, because I remember that I learned that mimer well, and I remember I was very excited about that class. So hopefully there will be some residue in my mind from 12 years ago when I taught the main mimer, and we can learn the biur, the explanation on the mimer. I'm totally not in a position to teach this. How can you teach an explanation that this is an explanation on the mimer if you didn't learn the mimer? But again, we learned it 12 years ago. So I guess in some level of soul, there's no passage of time. So it's as if we learned it yesterday. And with Hashem's help, I hope we're gonna do well. The other option is not to learn. And that's not an option. So let's learn. And maybe with the merit of everybody that's learning with us together, this mimer, this incredible godly revelation will open up for us. Okay, so he bases it on a Zohar. Zohar Daf Tzadei Gimel. Let me read to you the Zohar. You should not desecrate my holy name. It says this week in the parsha, "V'nikdashti b'toich b'nei Yisroel," I will become sanctified amongst the Jewish people. So the Zohar says, "Pekudedol lekachalei b'chol yoma." This is a commandment to sanctify God every day. L'salka kedushasei mitata le'ela, to elevate His holiness from below upward. That means the creatures below, humans, angels, from below, we declare His holiness. So we elevate His holiness upward. Just like He is holy above, we proclaim His holiness below. Till His holiness rises to fathers and children. This is the secret. I will become sanctified amongst the Jewish people. Eila v'tata, above and below. Eila b'tlas dargin, above in 3 dimensions. Obviously, referring to Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. 3 times we say Kadosh. So it's 3 levels. L'tata b'tlas dargin, and below in 3 levels. Now I'm going to skip a little bit. And he continues and he says like this. Kadosh, he's going to explain the 3 times Kadosh. So he says Kadosh, the first Kadosh, Ihu star ilah. Kadosh, the first Kadosh is indicative of a very supernal tzad. Tzad means a side. Satar means a place, a level, the side of holiness. It's very high. Which is the first level of all levels. So obviously it's pretty high. If this is the first level of all levels, that's the first Kodesh. Va'afal gav the EU star Temira, the Ikra Kodesh. Now even though it's a hidden place, it's because it's so high, it's so primordial, it's so lofty and so at the beginning. So it's a concealed state. And therefore it's called Kodesh. Kodesh without a vav, kuf dalet shin. It's called Kodesh, it's called holy. Now there's 2 words, Kadosh, where you have a vav after the dalet. That's Kadosh. And then there's Kodesh. Kodesh and Kadosh. What's the difference? Kodesh represents holiness itself. Kadosh is when something is being permeated with holiness. In other words, this level itself is not holy, but you're drawing holiness into it. You're sanctifying it. It itself is not that sacred or that elevated. So that's the question over here is, if he's saying that Kadosh, the first Kadosh, is the first level, which we know in the Spheros, it's the attribute of Chachma. The attribute of Chachma is called Kodesh. So if it's the first level that is completely above and hidden, so how can we say that it's when we're saying Kadosh with a Vav, which represents already a level that you can experience the holiness, it's already holiness drawn down as opposed to the essence of holiness. This is the level that's Kodesh without a Vav. There's no entry into it at all. It's totally inaccessible. So that's the Zohar is asking. This place is called Kodesh. How can you say on this level Kadosh? Which means a level that's not holy, but has become invigorated with holiness. So therefore the Zohar answers, Mitaman, from that very lofty, inaccessible, transcendental place, is Pashit Pshitu, the Nohir B'chad Shvila, comes forth a simple, Pshitu means a simple light, which shines in a very narrow path. The Kika, it's a very narrow path, like a thread of simple light that's undefined. Temira Goyam Tzu'isa, which hides in the middle. So we're dealing with something that's from a very, 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 from the very quintessential beginning, very high, and therefore very removed. But from that place, there's some kind of a hamshacha, some kind of a ray, but it's very narrow, it's very thin, and where does it hide? It hides in the center. We'll soon see what that means. Kivan desnar goy amtzeisa. Once it has shined, or has been shining into the middle level, kedeinis rashem chadvav denohir. So then it is becomes symbolized, or becomes nirshemes. It becomes marked with a letter vav, but not just a regular vav. A vav denohir goy hai kodesh, that is shining into this kodesh. So now what happens over here is, when the center level receives this little thin ray, so to speak, of transcendental kodesh light, it becomes kadosh, because a vav is inserted inside of it. That vav is kodesh. The ikra kadosh. And the Zohar says now it's called kadosh. Now, that's Mehai Nihira Ispashet Pshita Latata. Now from this level becomes, for once it's called Kadosh already. Another light, a simple light now continues further downward. Latata Soifa Dechol Dargin. It descends down to the bottom of all levels. Even this Nar B'Soifa, when it starts shining in the last and lowest level, Kedei Nisrashim B'Nehira Chad Hei. So then a Hey becomes illuminated with this light, just like the Vav became illuminated with this light. Again, this light is above, it's Kodesh. In a sense, we can say it's above all letters. It's higher and transcendent. But when it shines its light down to the center, then the Vav suddenly is illuminated with that light. And then the Kodesh surrounds the Vav, and it becomes Kadosh. And then when that Vav is illuminated with that light, and it continues to shine that light even farther downward, then a Hey becomes, when it reaches all the way to the bottom, then the Hey becomes illuminated with that light, and it becomes Kedusha, which is Kadosh, Hey. The Kodesh has reached the Hey. So imagine this light passing through like various different levels, and as it hits a certain spot, then the letter, this powerful letter, illuminates with that light. And then the light continues, and then another letter is illuminated with that light, which is the letter Hey. Obviously, we're talking about these illuminations, which are illuminations of levels that each level itself is like is exponentially above the other letters. It's way higher, way above it, and So he's going to explain what does this mean. The Ikra Kedusha. Okay. So now, really, based on what we just learned, we really don't have three Kodeshes. We have one Kodesh without a Hey, without a Vav. The three levels, basically, based on what we just learned, the three levels should be like this. Kodesh, Kadosh, and Kedusha. It's not Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. So why is it Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh? It's Kodesh, Kadosh, and Kedusha. Because the first level of Kodesh, on that level there is no Vav and no Hey. It's completely removed. The second level is a Vav. So that's Kadosh. And the final level, it's already more than the Vav. It's Kedusha. So why is it called Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh? The HaKodesh Miboyale. It should have been called then Kodesh. The first one should be Kodesh and not Kadosh. Raza de Reshisa de Koila, which is the secret of the very beginning of everything. Since it comes from that place. So why on that transcendental level, on the very first level, is already called Kadosh? Because we say 3 times Kadosh. Because on that level there is no Vav. It's still beyond the Vav. As we're soon going to see what this all means. But this is still a level beyond the Vav. This is the secret. Vadai v'Yisroel mekacha letato kegavna de malacha yalo le'elo. Definitely, the Jewish people, when they say Kadosh down here, they do it in the same way like the angels say Kadosh, Kadosh up there. The Chsiv Buhu, it says by them, V'kara zeh el zeh, they call one to the other, it says by the angels, V'amar Kadosh. V'kivan the Yisrael kamekache. So when Yidden down here, when the Jewish people down here in this world say Kadosh, 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 Salka mitata le'ela, it rises from below upward. Yikari ilah, the supernal glory. We'll see what this all means. Abdi istalik vav raza de shamayim iloin le'ela. So what happens is, when we say Kadosh, we're taking the Vav, which we'll soon see what the Vav is, and we're causing the Vav to be elevated to a place way beyond the Vav, to a place called Kodesh, without a Vav. And what happens is, it's not just that when we're saying the first Kadosh, if we would be referring just to the pure place called Kadosh, so why are we saying Kadosh? We should say Kodesh, without the Vav. We're saying Kadosh, why? Because already in the first Kadosh, what we're doing is we're elevating the Vav into this transcendental place where there is no Vav. We're inserting the Vav into into this transcendental non-Vav dimension. When that happens, that place is called Kadosh with a Vav. Why? Not because the holiness is illuminating downward into the Vav, but rather because the Vav was subsumed in this Kadosh. See, the difference between the second Kodesh and the second Kadosh and the first Kadosh is as follows. In the second Kadosh, we're dealing essentially with a level where there is no holiness. We're drawing holiness into that level. Like we say on Yom Tov, the difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov. Shabbos is essential holy. Automatically Shabbos comes, Shabbos is a holy day. Yom Tov is not holy, it's a regular weekday. Mikra Kodesh, we sanctify it, we draw holiness into it. So the second level is a place that's not really holy. We're soon going to see it's very godly, but it's still not holy. The level of holiness means removed, undefined, without any definitions, without any specifications, beyond all personality, beyond all definition. Simple light that can't be defined, that's completely hidden, there's no way to grasp it. That's called Kadosh. Kadosh really means separated. So, the first Kadosh, so the second Kadosh, we're talking about a place that's not holy, but we're drawing holiness into it. But in order to draw holiness into this place that's essentially not yet holy, we first need a rise to the place of holiness to draw and trigger the holiness to reveal itself. We have to cause and trigger the holiness to emanate, to shine forth. How do you trigger the holiness to emanate? So what you do is you take the lower levels and you elevate the lower levels to become nullified in the higher levels. In other words, what we're doing is we're picking up the Vav, that level that's called Vav, and we're elevating the Vav into holiness. And then what happens? It's called Kadosh. Not because the holiness went down, but because whatever was not holy was elevated into the holy. The Vav was brought into the Kadosh. The second Kadosh is we take that level and we draw it down into the place of the Vav. That's the difference between the two. And that's what he's saying over here. We're lifting up the heavens. The heavens are not called Kodesh. No matter how high the heavens are, how spiritual, they're not holy yet. We lift up the Vav, Raza the Shemayim Elaz on the Elah above. Kivan the Inon Shemayim Istalku le'Elah. Once this Shemayim has been departed and went up, Noir Ahu Kodesh Buhu. So then the Kodesh shines into this level that has now been elevated to the highest place. Ukedain Ikra le'Elah Kadosh. So now it's called already Kadosh, because the Vav was inserted into it. The Basar, and after that, Noir Ahi Nehira Ilah. So that supernal light that we just contacted in its removed, elevated space, now it's shining downward, Al Kirsaya, on its throne, the Iyu Shamayim, which is Shamayim. So now that holiness is coming down to be in a place that's essentially not holy, but now the holiness is not in its place, the holiness descended. to fill the Shamayim with holiness. But filling Shamayim with holiness, heaven with holiness, is not enough. The objective is to fill the earth with holiness. That's why we have to say the third time Kadosh. So really what happens over here is, the first Kadosh is upward. The last two Kadoshes are downward flow. In the first Kadosh, we're elevating. In the second two Kadoshes, we're downloading. It's only that in the second Kadosh, we download to the middle, and in the third Kadosh, we download all the way to the bottom. In the second Kadosh, we download into heaven, and the third Kadosh, we're downloading into earth. What's the first Kadosh? The first Kadosh is uploading, not downloading. That's what the Zohar is saying. Now the heavens return to their place. And it becomes now settled with that light. That's why the heavens are now called Kadosh with a Vav. This is the second Kadosh. And then the light continues downward. Till it goes down to the level of the tzaddik, till one tzaddik receives it. We're soon going to see Kabbalistically what this level is. That he takes this level. But why does he take it? Not for himself, because he wants to sanctify the hay. He wants to sanctify Malchus. He wants to sanctify the earth. So he receives it. That's why it's not called Kedusha, the last level. It's not called Kedusha, the last level. The last level is called also Kadosh. L'chura, once we send down the light to permeate the hay, it should be called Kedusha. But we're really not yet dealing with the hay. We're still dealing with the Vav, because we draw the Kadosh down from the middle, and when we bring it down to the place that's going to be mashpia to the hay. It's going to influence into the hay. It's not yet the hay. It's still the Vav. And that's why it's also Kadosh. Kivan the Iyo Natal Kaila Kadei Nikra Kadosh, that's why it's called Kadosh. V'da'u hiraza de kula. And this is the secret of everything. And one who really puts his energy into this, his desire into doing this, he's doing really well. The Zohar says. If you really get this practice down and you get this exercise down well, like you're in business, basically. Anyways. This is the situation. So last time what I did, I remember like 12 years ago, I taught the Zohar. Then I took the Arizal. And Zohar is talking about level above. The Arizal comes and identifies the levels. Above is one level. And it identifies what these levels are. And so you're basically getting a interpretation on Zohar with a more of a, you still have no idea what is going on. Then you learn Chassidus, and you see how Chassidus bases on the Arizal to explain the Zohar, and suddenly the whole thing illuminates and comes to life. It comes alive like amazing life. And how it applies to your life, not just Kabbalistic words. So that is super, super special and super powerful. Yossi, you're in for 3 hours now because you just came right at the beginning. No running, no going, no coming. It's gate nicht. Being that you walk by on camera, everybody even knows who it is. So if I yell, Yossi, sit down, we know. Unbelievable. So now that we did that, so now let me translate what the Arizal says very quickly, and then we'll learn what the Chassidus says. So the Arizal says like this: this transcendental place that we spoke about is the first Kadosh, without the Vav. That's Chachma. Chachma is Koach Ma, the power of Ma, In Chachma resides the Ein Sof. The Eibishter himself, the Or Ein Sof, resides in Chachma. Chachma has no identity. Chachma has no personality. Chachma is a clean window that allows the Ein Sof to shine. It's a recipient of the Ein Sof because Chachma has no opinion in the Ein Sof. Chachma has no definition. Chachma is just an empty keli to receive it as it is and to experience the emes that Einod Novado does nothing but God, and Chachma doesn't add its own spin on it. Okay. Once you put it into Bina, you already get a certain, I'm getting a certain take on it already. It's a certain take, it's already giving it already some definition. So therefore Chachma is called Kodesh, because you have no access to it. It's no definition. That's Chachma. But what's our avodah? We want to unlock God's light and bring him into the world. Why? Because Nesava Kadosh Baruch Hu liyas le'dira b'tachtayim. David wanted to have a dwelling place in the world. So you want to bring that unknowable energy of Chachma downward. So how do you do it? So when we say Kadosh, the first Kadosh in davening, what we're really doing is we're going to soon see the beer of it, but we're taking Teferes, which Teferes is already as a shaykhis to the world. Teferes is already the center of the Midos. Midos is already connected to creation. Midos are already, Midah means measure. The Midos, there's an Eranpin, it's already defined, it's already godliness that's already shaykhis to the world. Has already relationship to the world. And we're taking that Elokus from Teferes, and we're helping it rise where? Into Chacham. So we're causing the Ze'er Anpin, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to rise into the Ein Sof. It's aliyah, the aliyah of the Vav. Teferes is Vav. Because it's 6, Teferes is the center, like the body, the torso, that all parts, all the limbs are connected, all the midos are connected to Teferes. So when we say the first Kadosh, we lift Teferes, which is not Kadosh, and we lift it into Kadosh, into Kodesh, without a Vav, into Chacham. Once we've done that, then we can draw the Vav back down. But this time it's not the same Vav like we sent up. This is already an enlightened Vav. This is a Vav that has already been swimming in the Or Ein Sof. This is the Vav that has already been mevatel itself completely into something, into the Ein Sof potential. Stand, the Vav went out of itself already. He was elevated into the Ein Sof. So now when you're bringing it down, it's already imbued with a whole new energy, and therefore, that's the second Kadosh. You're bringing Kedusha into a place that essentially is not Kadosh. That level is called Shamayim, that we said before. Because Shamayim is Eish Umayim. And Teferes is a blend of Chesed and Gevurah, which is Eish and Mayim. So Shamayim, you're bringing holiness into Shamayim. That's not enough. In general, that means, we're going to see soon in the Maimer, that means bringing the Or Ein Sof into Atzilus, into the world of emanation. It's not yet bringing a Lukus down into the world, into creation, but you're bringing it into the divine attributes that are a source of creation. You're bringing Or Ein Sof into that level. Then comes the next, and that's the most important one, the third Kadosh. The third Kadosh causes the Or Ein Sof that's in Teferes to go down further into Yesod. Once it goes down into Yesod, then Yesod and Teferes are aligned with each other. They're both in the middle. Teferes is Yaakov and Yesod is Yosef. Eila told us Yaakov, Yosef. The descendants of Yaakov is Yosef. And what's the whole point of Yosef? The Yosef hu ha-mashber al kol haaretz. Yosef is the one that feeds the earth. Yosef, Yesod, is mashpia to Malchus. And what's Malchus? Malchus is the mother of what? The Shechina, the mother of Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya, the physical word. So through the last Kadosh, by bringing it into Yesod, since Yesod is all about giving the Hashpah, where? Ba'olam hazeh hagashmi. It's for that reason that's where it's at, the third Kadosh. Bringing it down, ba'aretz, into the earth. And that was the hezbid of what we just learned in the Zohar. Now let's read it inside and understand exactly what this all means. Lva'er Hadvarim al Pasuk v'niktashti b'toich b'nei Yisroel. Be'inyan gimel kittis malachim. There's 3 kittis of malachim. Kat achas omer is Kadosh. One group says Kadosh. V'zeu inyan asrafim. The first group is srafim. Because what's the first inyan of the first Kadosh? The inyan of the first Kadosh is to become elevated into the Ein Sof. The first Kadosh is not about drawing down anything. You're not downloading, you're uploading. What you're doing is, in the first Kadosh, is what the Srafim are doing. What are the Srafim doing? They're getting burnt in the Eibishter. That's what happens. They get so excited about God, they go further and further and further until they pop. They dissolve in the Eibishter. That's what happens. That's called Srafim. They're burning up in the Eibishter. So that's the first group, Kadosh. V'zeh inyan asrafim. The Katachas, another group, Oimers, Kadosh, Kadosh. And then the other group say Kadosh, Kadosh, 2 times Kadosh. So to understand this, Tzarech lahagna masha kasa b'reya mehemna pashas Emor. So we first need to preface what it says in Reya Mehemna, which is a portion of the Zohar Pashas Emor, which I just read. That's Tzad Gimel Lamed Aleph. Now Pasuk said the V'nikdashti on this Pasuk of V'nikdashti. So the Zohar says like this, Kadosh iyostari lo kodesh. You see kodesh without a vav. What's that? That's iyostari lo, that's a holy side. Just explain that's Chachma, because that's the beginning, the Reish is Chachma. It's the beginning. It's still touching the Orein Soif. So that's the first level. But then the Zohar says, why is it called Kadosh? L'chura, this level is Kodesh. The first one should be Kodesh. So we learned, Kivan the Yisroel kamakacha, because when Yidden say Kedusha, Kasalki mitata le'ela, they cause an upward uploading. They cause an upward rising, mitata, from below, le'ela, above. Yikari Yila, the Yikari Yila, the supernal glory, which is Teferes, is rising upward, ad the istalik vav, until the vav rises, raza de shemayim iloin, which, what's the vav? The vav is the secret of the supernal heavens, which is, in general, it's all the 6 spheros. More in particular, it's Teferes. And where is it going? Le'ela. It's being elevated above. What's called le'ela above? It's being elevated into Chachma. Kivan the inan shemayim istalku le'ela. Once these heavens have been elevated upward, Nahir, Ahu Kadosh, so that unknowable level called Kadosh, totally separated and holy, that's completely closed, is shining Behu into the Vav, or into them, into the Vav, which has 6 spheros, that all 6 spheros are now illuminated, primarily Teferes, is illuminated with this light of Chachma. That's very important. That's why it's called Le'ela. Even that very high darga, which should have been called Kodesh without a Vav, is now called Kadosh, because we inserted the Vav into the Kodesh. The Vav got lost in the Kodesh, dissolved in the Kodesh. So now in Pri Eitz Chaim, Shara Kriya Shema, Perek Beis. So if you look in Pri Eitz Chaim, so Pri Eitz Chaim learned Zohar. And then he explains the Zohar Kabbalistically. Kedusha, the Yotzer Oyer, when he talks about the Kedusha, which Kedusha? Of Yotzer Oyer. V'zel Shoyna. V'hine inyan Kadosh, what's the inyan of Kadosh? U'kitchila Oyla Soid Vav Shel Teferes. First, the secret of Vav of Teferes rises. Lekabel ha'ara ma'chachma. To receive a ray from Chachma. Hanikra Kodesh. Chachma is called Kodesh without a Vav. V'nasa Kadosh, and then Teferes becomes Kadosh, because it's now it's imbued with the light of Kodesh, but Teferes is a Vav. V'achakach mispashet, and then that light goes down ad ha-Teferes, back to the place of Teferes. See, in this level, it's taka receiving the light of Kodesh, but it's not an identity unto its own. It's kind of lost in its source. Now it has to go back to its place and bring along with it that holiness. It's like a chassid when he goes to Rebbe, when he's by his Rebbe and close to him, he could be very holy. But that's because he's included and absorbed in his Rebbe's holiness. It's like a Jew who goes to the Beis HaMikdash, who's imbued in the Beis HaMikdash's holiness. It's not his holiness. Now he takes what he absorbed into the Beis HaMikdash and he brings it home back to Canarsie, or wherever he lives. He's coming back home with that holiness, and living his life with that holiness. That's the second Kadosh. Downward. Ada Teferes, two Teferes. V'nasa Sham Kadosh Beis. And over there it becomes the second Kadosh. V'zau Shama B'reim Ehemna, that's why it says in Reim Ehemna Sham. V'inun Shamayim, and these heavens, Taivin L'duchtayu, return to their place. See? The heavens now go back to their place. Now they went up to somewhere much higher than the place of heaven. The midos, the supernal attributes, went up to a place higher than the attributes. And over there, they were invited inward. But now they go back to their place. Then he explains, it continues further, and it expands into Yesoid. And it becomes the third Kadosh. It goes into Malchus, and Malchus is a hay, and it becomes Kedusha. Now you know the whole etymology of the word Kedusha. It's a whole work until it becomes Kedusha. Because Kedusha really is, think about it, Kedusha doesn't make any sense. Why Kedusha doesn't make any sense? Kedusha means that in a place, that hay, which is Shechina, which is the opposite of Kedusha. Shechina means she's imbued in everything. What's Kodesh? Kodesh means untouchable, undefinable, removed. Shechina means that the Eibishter is Sheichein Mislabish B'Tachtonim, in a sense, getting himself involved. If you listen to my shir this week, really a must listen to. This is a must listen to, the shir. It's going to go by like minutes. It's the stuff that you like, the coolest Gemara. It's unbelievable. And it's the Levi Yitzchak stuff. It's good stuff. In any case, so over there, talk about the Shechina gets dirty with blood, splattered blood. Her clothing is all splattered with blood from the avodah of birurim that she does right before Mashiach comes. Zevach loy bebatzra, whatever is what's happening in Amish in the world now. It's an unbelievable thing. In any case, so how does he remain holy? And the answer is that's the secret of a Jew. A Jew is supposed to be involved in the world, and yet while he's involved in the world, bring holiness. Eat, but be holy while you're eating. Sleep, be holy when you're sleeping. Be holy while you're engaged. That's the whole secret of Kedusha. You're going into the hay. The hay is not Kodesh, but you're bringing the Kodesh into the hay. But in order to do that, there's a whole procedure. Atkan Devorav. Till here is the words of the Eitz Chaim. So we have Zoyar. Now we have a little bit more to work with because we have already Dargis. We know which spheroids, we know what attributes we're talking about. Now comes the Alter Rebbe, and it gives you the fleshing it out. What does it mean in your life? That the Teferes goes up in the Chachma, and then the Chachma comes down back into Teferes, and Teferes comes back down into Yesoid. Finally, it goes into Malchus. V'kach Kosev, so Adkan, V'kach Kosev, and so he also says, B'shar Chazaras Amida. When the Arizal in Pri Eitz Chaim, when he talks about in the portal of repetition of Shemoneh Esrei, why by the repetition of Shemoneh Esrei? Because by the repetition of Shemoneh Esrei we say again Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. We say it by Kriya Shema, before Shema, and then we say it again. So there he explains it again. Reish Peri Gimel. V'zau sha'ama b'reim ahem nesham. This that it says in Reim ahem no lebasar nachas ahinahura. Then this light descends. Ad notel kula chat tzaddik ilo, till one supernal tzaddik takes it. Darge yakira, this high level, lekacha kula letata, to sanctify everything below. And that's the idea that we said earlier. Once Yosef has it, you know we're in business. Once Yosef has the light, you know that he's not going to keep it. He's already going to transmit it. Like it says in the Pasuk, Yosef hu amashber, he's already bringing light down. He's going to change Mitzrayim, he's already going to make Freilach. Yeah. And the explanation of the matter is, that's why you see talk about Yosef, that Yosef Dafk is the one that goes down to Mitzrayim. Till then, the Yidden, the Shvatim lived above the world. He didn't really enter the world. Yosef Dafka, because he's the one who has to transmit it into Malchus, goes down to Mitzrayim. And the same exact thing repeats itself in the end of days before Mashiach comes. You have the five tzaddikim, 7 tzaddikim with the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe. They're all teaching Chassidus. We're in a shtetl in Lubavitch in Russia. Shane. It's all above the world. It's a world, but it's not. Friediger Rebbe, he makes the journey and comes to the shores of America. Why? Because his name is Yosef. And he's the sixth. And he's taking all that holiness and he's already bringing it down, Malchus, down into this world. Then he gives it to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe makes already Freilach, the ganze Welt, the whole world becomes holy. That's already but it has to go, once it's in Yosef's hands, we're already ready to be mamshich the Kedusha all the way down, latata, down here in the world. Rabbi Reuven, the explanation of the matter is in Yuvan Bahagda Mashakasa Beitz Chayim. Will be understood by first prefacing what it says in Eitz Chayim. So first you have to understand, why do you need at the beginning? Why can't Chachma just deliver the holiness down to Tiferes? Why does Tiferes have to first go up to Chachma? And only when Tiferes goes up to Chachma can Chachma then deliver the light into Tiferes, and the Tiferes can take it back down with it. It's feltois, that Tiferes. What's the inyan? So it says in Eitz Chayim, till now we were learning pre-Eitz Chayim. Now we're going to learn Eitz Chayim a little bit. In Eitz Chayim it says, both from the same author, from the Arizal, but two different svarim. The difference is that pre-Eitz Chayim is a sefer that's on the order of the year, of davening in the year. It's the order of tefillah, the order of your daily conduct. Then he has Shar HaShabbos, Shar HaShodesh, Shar Halulav, Shar Sukkos, each Shar Chanukah, Purim, Rosh Chodesh. He gives you the year. Eitz Chayim is just a map of all of Seder Ishtalshalos. Eitz Chayim is the map, is the encyclopedia for Kabbalah. And pre-Eitz Chayim is already the kavanas that you're supposed to have in davening and all that stuff. So in Eitz Chayim it says, Shalatzorich Yichud Ava, that when you want to cause a yichud of Ava, what's Ava? Abba ve'ima. When you want to cause a union between father and mother, between Chachma and Bina, tzarech liyas hala asman b'mesiras nefesh. The only way you can cause a marriage between Chachma and Bina, a union between Chachma and Bina, requires mesiras nefesh. In order to bring Chachma to transmit to Bina, it's so, Chachma and Bina, in essence, are so far from each other that for Chachma and to be mashpia into Bina, especially this pnimius, in a sense we say Chachma and Bina trein rei and the loy misparsh. Chachma and Bina never separate, because if Chachma and Bina would separate for a split second, there can be no creation. Chachma is ayin, is still nothing, but Chachma may ayin timatzi. Bina is the first definition of yesh, of something. So if the ayin would go away from the yesh, what would happen? Since the yesh, the something, is deriving its entire existence from the nothing, so if the yesh and the ayin and the yesh separate, no world. So Chachma and Bina train today in the loy misparshin. In a sense, they always have a yichud. There's never a moment. The Ze'er Anpin and Malchus are not always unified. They're able to be separate. Golus, there's no yichud between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Shechina, and yet the worlds exist. But between Chachma and Bina, they always have to be a yichud. If Chas v'shalom that, they'll be Kiyam Ha'olam. Yet, that's the very chitzonius dega hashpa. That's a very external hashpa. When we're talking about over here a yichud of Av and Iba, we mean a much, much deeper hashpa. Not a hashpa to keep the worlds alive, but a hashpa to bring news into the world, to bring new light into the world, to bring something from outside into creation. Or, in other words, to bring the Eibishter himself into creation. Which is the light of Torah and mitzvahs, which is the light of what the Jewish people are all about. Not just about keeping the creation going. It's about infusing with new oiros. So in order for that to happen, we need to reach the Eibishter himself. We need to reach, because a yichud of Chachma and Bina, what he's going to explain in a minute, really means a yichud of the Eibishter with the worlds. God himself. Not the divine attributes, but God himself. What's an eserusa de latata? We know there's a rule. Anything that's going to come from above is required that we do something from below to trigger it. We have to do a eserusa de latata, and when we do a eserusa de latata, an arousal from below, we cause a eserusa de liel. what kind of possible disorderus can reach the Eibishter himself? When we're talking already with spheroids attributes, for example, if I want to be ma'orer midas hachesed, an example, I want that the Eibishter should do a kindness to me. So what kind of an avodah should I do? Do a favor for a yid, that the Eibishter will do a favor for you. In other words, stimulate kindness. By you doing kindness, you're stimulating kindness. By you doing, you want the Eibishter should do some kind of discipline, to discipline some enemy of yours, or some bad guy. So discipline yourself. And you're going to be ma'oder the gevura, and be ma'oder the Eibishter's gevura. For whatever is needed. You want compassion, be ma'oder each Indian. That's how you're ma'oder this particular Indian. But how about if it's not about being ma'oder chesed or gevura or this, but you want the Eibishter alains, God himself. So what can you do that resembles, that reaches Eibishter alain, God himself? Nothing. Because on that level, we're working with oiros bekalim, with our oiros that are in kalim, our personality, and you're dealing with the Eibishter that's infinitely beyond all kalim. So you need to do something similar. What are you going to do? So there's one in Mesiras Nefesh. When a Yid is experiencing the total, you're going out of yourself to the point where you're becoming not, and that's when you're, in a sense, because a Jew does have a spark of Eibishter, but the real spark of Eibishter, the real spark of God that you have, is not defined by your mind. It's not defined by your compassion. It's defined by your desire or your ability, your nullification of self to the complete level of the bisnisht. You go completely out of yourself to being not. Or you're yearning for God to the point that you're ready to leave your body and be nullified to Him. It's not rational. It's not logic. It's not intellect because it's not kalim. It's the exposure of the real pintele yid that's inside of you. That is ma'oder the Eibishter himself. So therefore it says that in order to cause that first injection, daily, we want every day an injection, an infusion of new infinite light into the entire system. There's energy flow in the system, but that's static. You don't want the energy flow that's in the system. You want from beyond the system. In order to do that, so every day we want to infuse new light into the system from beyond the system. That means from Chachma to Bina. Because Chachma doesn't really mean Chachma. Chachma is the window to everything that's beyond Chachma. All the way to who? To the Orein Sof Shalifnei HaTzimtzum, to the Eibishter himself, and even beyond the Orein Sof to Atzmos himself, God's essence himself. So how do you do that? So every day we have a moment of Mesiras Nefesh, and that's Shema. When a Yid says Kriya Shema, the Kriya Shema of a Yid is Mesiras Nefesh. That Mesiras Nefesh of the Yid is Ma'orer, that Yichud. That's why the Arizal says that by Shema Yisroel is when there's a yichud of Abba and Ima, Chacham and Bin. So now let's read it inside. And so just like it is in our own personal little lives, that when we're Meiser Nefesh, what we're really doing it's the idea of Elecha Hashem Nafshi Esa. I'm lifting my neshama up from my metzius, and I'm dissolving my neshama into your emes, into your truth. I don't exist. I'm now lost in the all-encompassing reality of you. I've become included, absorbed in Eibishter, in a Lakus. So just like it happens down here, the Yid is an image of the Eibishter above. So when the Yid does it down here, the same thing happens to Teferes. The Ze'er Anpin is also like a person. And when the Yid down here has Mesiras Nefesh, the Ze'er Anpin, the energy of the Ze'er Anpin, which is also Oiros Bekalim, what happens? It too rises and it dissolves into the Orein Sof. That's the meaning of the first Kadosh. That we're lifting the Vav into Chachma. Into Chachma's bittul, Koyach Ma, the power of total bittul. That's the upward rising. Because only then can we cause a new fusion of light. Once you have it already, once you captured it, what happens after the Yid does Kriya Shema? It's Chmois Nefesh. Eibishter, I'm yours. Now what? A Yid is not supposed to remain in this state of non-existence the whole day. For that the Eibishter didn't have to send our neshama down into this world. Oh, now that you've experienced the emes of the Lakus, the Eibishter wants you to return back to become self-aware and conscious of yourself. Go back into your reality. But learn Torah and do mitzvahs and take that emes that you had for one moment, that einoid mulvadoi, and channel it into all you're doing. First through Torah in your Shemayim, and then through mitzvahs into your Aretz. And that's the three Kadoshes. The first Kadosh is Aroif, and the other two Kadosh is drawing it down. Torah and mitzvahs. Teferes and Malchus. Or Teferes and Yisoid. Which Yisoid will give it to Malchus. Das is the Nekuda of what we're learning. So let's see it inside. Again. So, in order to cause a yichud of Chachma and Bina tzarech liyas Allah's man, we need to raise feminine waters. Feminine waters means everything we do as the female, as the world, as part of the world, to reach for Hashem, who's the male, right? And we have to do that only with Mesiras Nefesh. The only thing that speaks to the Or Ein Sof and triggers it is Mesiras Nefesh, the Kriya Shema, which we do by the Shema. But when we want to cause lower yichudim, this is a very high yichud. But when we want to cause lower yichudim, that means we want to intensify the energy to flow from HaKadosh Baruch Hu into Malchus. For example, from Sphira to Sphira, then we don't need to do with Mesiras Nefesh. Sagi, it is enough b'halas man, by raising feminine waters al yedei ha-Torah v'ha-mitzvahs. In other words, Torah study, mitzvah observance can cause the energy to flow from sphira to sphira, from chamber to chamber, from world to world. There's gazillions of worlds. You can pass that life flow from level to level, from level to level. But the main thing is, it's all dependent on that one moment of Shema, when you did Shema appropriately. Then everything else that you're doing later. Through this we're mamshech, and we cause a yichud. Zun means zuchra v'nukva, which represents the six spherois with malchus. And therefore, because Shema is so important, because without Shema you don't have the Or Ein Sof at all. Without that bittul, without that Mesiras Nefesh, you're not at all capturing Or Ein Sof. You're not. So therefore, even someone who learns Torah Yom V'Layla, in Chazal there is a in Halacha there is a certain definition, a certain state called Teirasa Yom Nasai. Someone whose Torah is his profession. A person like that is basically pater from all mitzvahs. Not from all mitzvahs. He's pater from tefillah. Sorry. A person whose Teirasa Yom Nasai is exempt from davening. Rabbi Yehuda would only daven once every 30 days when he did Chazara. Otherwise, he wouldn't daven. Teirasa Yom Nasai don't have to daven. But for Kriya Shema, they have to stop their learning and say the Shema. Why? Why is Kriya Shema so vital? Because the whole point of whatever they're doing in Torah and mitzvahs is they're causing yichudim. So when he's learning Torah, he's causing yichudim to happen on all the levels. But you need to have a little juice to flow that the yichud should mean something. What are you passing from one to the other if there's no initial insertion of divinity, of the Eibishter? For that you need the Shema. So that moment of Shema that they said gave them that whole chayos, and now they have what to pump from level to level, from world to world throughout the whole day. Even whose Torah is his profession, mafsik l'kriya Shema, interrupts for this writing of the Shema. Chazal also say, it's greater if someone who reads the Shema in its time, Yoiser ma'oisik b'Torah. More than someone who's oisik in Torah. What that means is the avodah of Mesiras Nefesh and the avodah of Dveikus is higher than Limud HaTorah. V'af al gav shel b'Likuti Torah Parshas Bereishis. And even though Likuti Torah Parshas Bereishis, he's asking a kasha to Tzemach Tzedek. How can you say that mitzvahs don't impact Chachma and Bina? According to what we're saying now, mitzvah observance and Torah study is mainly only impacting to cause a yichud between who? Zuchra and Nukva, which is from Chesed and onwards. Chesed is Zuchra. Chesed through Yesoid is Zuchra as male, and Nukva is Malchus. But in Chachma and Bina, you need Kriya Shema. Mitzvah doesn't touch. So he's asking a Likuti Torah from the Arizal. It says that the word mitzvah is really Yud Kei Vav Kei. Because when you're doing a mitzvah, you're causing a flow of energy through all four levels. Why is mitzvah Yud Kei Vav Kei? Because mitzvah has a Vav and a Hey. And then a Mem and a Tzadik is really is Yud Kei in the At Bash. In the At Bash system, where the Aleph switches with the Tav, so the mem is a Yud, because the mem is the 10th letter from the end, so it switches with the Yud, and the Tzadik is the 5th letter from the end, and it switches with a Hey. So Yud Kei, mitzvah, when you say do a mitzvah, what you're really saying is do a Yud Kei Vav Kei. So l'chayr you're seeing that what? That the mitzvah observance includes and affects the Yud Kei as well. If mitzvah would only affect the Vav Kei, the Vav and the Hey, which is the Zuchra and the Nukva, then why would mitzvah be called mitzvah, which includes the Yud Kei? So that's what he's asking. So the mitzvah Shem Havaya. Mitzvah is really Shem Havaya. Sheshnei Oisiyos Mem Tzadik. The two letters of Mem Tzadik, the mitzvah, and Ba'at Bash. They are in the At Bash system. Yud Kei. Dahainu Shayadei Mitzvah Goyrim Gam Yichud Abba Ve'ima. Which means that through a mitzvah we also cause a yichud, a unification of father and mother, which is Chachma and Bina. Shehem Yudke, which is Yudke. How does it fit with what we're saying now in Eitz Chaim, that only Mesiras Nefesh causes the Yudke, but not a regular mitzvah? So the Rebbe says, the Tzemach Tzedek answers, it's very simple. Ach Makol Makom, you see, Heim Oisias Mechulefes. You see that if it's so obvious that when you're doing any mitzvah you're touching on the Yudke, then why isn't the mitzvah called Yud Kei Vav Kei? Why is the mitzvah called mitzvah? Once you're calling it mitzvah means there is already that inyan that you're affecting the Yud Kei is not so clear, it's not so visible, it's camouflaged. Because if it wouldn't be camouflaged, it would be very direct and very obvious, then a mitzvah shouldn't be called mitzvah. A mitzvah should be called Yud Kei Vav Kei. The fact that it's called mitzvah, which means it's taka Yud Kei, but it's Yud Kei exchanged. And whenever the rule is, whenever you're exchanging letters, you're weakening it tremendously. Every exchange of letters weakens the energy. So it's a siman that, a mitzvah taka, to some degree it's touching on the Yud Kei, but it's really not causing a real zivug, a real yichud between Yud Kei. It's not causing, only Kriya Shema does that. As he says now, they're exchanged. B'mem tzadik with the mem and the tzadik. Lahoirois to indicate she'ein ze gilui gomer. It's not a complete gilui of the yudke. K'moi vavke like the vavke. She'bo b'loi chalife asven. The vavke in the word mitzvah is very obvious and very direct. B'mitzvah. Ikar yichud ava, but the main yichud of Abba and Ima, shem yudke mamish, which is Yudke Mamish, Zehu Animshach, Al Yedei Halos Man, the Mesiras Nefesh Be'echad. How do you really get Yudke kicking? How do you really get the Yud and the K to connect? That is through raising feminine waters, the Mesiras Nefesh Be'echad, of real Mesiras Nefesh in Echad. V'zehu Inyan Kriya Shema. And this is the Inyan of Kriya Shema. To appreciate how much the exchange of letters is already diluting it, to appreciate how deep the dilution is, well, take a look in Tanya, look in Beinanim, and Sefer Shel Beinim, Shari Yichud Ve'emunah, Perek Yud Beis, where he explains how once you exchange letters, it's already very far from the original. And that's the idea. So what's the reason? Why is it that in order to be able to trigger, now he's going back to the Maimer, why is it that in order to bring together the yichud of Chachma and Bina, mitzvahs don't work, you need to have Mesiras Nefesh? Why is it? The reason is, once the oir of the Ein Sof, the oir and the Hamshacha, the light and the drawing from the Ein Sof, was already drawn down into the Kalim, that means it's already in the bank account. Now you just need to draw the funds from the bank, but it's already in the account. It's already there. It's like, someone, in the business, my business, you have to sometimes call people for a check. So it's a big avodah. You got to call the guy, you got to reach him, you got to go catch him in a good mood, you have to have the right words, you have to go, it's a big thing. Once he already made the pledge, it's already in the system. Okay, now you have to speak to the secretary, you have to write the check. You do different things. You bring a cupcake to the secretary, she'll get you the thing. First days, I don't know, whatever. You have to figure out what the secretary likes. But you'll get it moving. It's much easier. When you have to get to the boss himself and to trigger that he should take an interest in your whole project, that's a whole different story. And that's the difference, he says. Once the oil has already entered into the flow of Atzilus, it's already flowing. Now you just have to pass it along. Mitzvahs can do it. Because when you're doing below this kind of an effect, you're actually pumping this energy. So it's moving from sphere to sphere, from attribute to attribute. Once it's already drawn into the world of Atzilus, into the world of emanation, lizun to zuchra v'nukva to the first levels. You just have to draw it further down from there. To bria yatzir and asiya. In other words, you have to just take it down lower into the world. Ashezeu inyin yichud zun. This is what the whole yichud of zun is. Zuchra v'nukva. Shall the yichud zeh through this yichud. Nimshach haylados neshamis. This causes neshamis to be born. Mei atzilus, from atzilus la'olam abriya, to the world of bria. But it's already in atzilus. Shar Mem Zayin, Shar Seder Abiyah, Perek, Dalet, and Hey. L'chein, therefore, Al Yedei HaTorah v'Amitzvahs, through Torah and Mitzvahs, Gam Ken Yecholim Lahamshach Hamshacha Zu. We can be Mamshach this Hamshacha, Ma'acha Shekvar Yeshnin Lahamshacha B'Kelim D'Zun D'Atzilus. Because the Hamshacha is already in the Kelim, it's in the vessels of Zuchra Nukva, of male and female of Atzilus. Al Ken, therefore, Al Yedei HaTorah and Mitzvahs, Shehem B'Chinas Kelim, and therefore, since it's already in Kalim, so when in the vessels, so when you do Torah mitzvahs, what's Torah mitzvahs? Torah mitzvahs is an energy that's in a vessel. For example, when you're learning Torah, you're learning a divine concept that's already enclosed in an idea. It's talking about the laws of Shabbos. It's talking about the laws of person borrowing something from someone, the Shemrim or the four guardians, whatever. So these are already, the Eibishter is already enclosed in concepts and ideas by learning it or by doing a mitzvah, which is also already some defined element. So you're already mamshach doiris in kelim. So she'em b'chinas kelim mamshichem mamshach azu she'be kelim dezun. You're mamshach. You just the trick of Torah. This is not belittling Torah and mitzvahs. This is when Torah, you're living a life of Torah and mitzvahs, learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, you're holding in your hands the key to the entire code, where you're moving energy in the cosmos. No one in the world can do that but the Jew. He's got like the keys, he's got the instructions, he's got the manual, how the whole system works. And by him doing it, it causes it's incredible. But yet, the greatness of the Jew is way beyond that. He can actually reach the boss himself, not just not just move the system. He can reach the boss himself and draw illicit new light that hasn't even been part of the system. That's through Kriya Shema. That's through Mesiras Nefesh, as we're going to see soon. Shebekelim dezon liyasnimshach bebiyat, to be drawn down in Bria Tzir and Asi. V'gam eisek haTorah. Now the Tzemach Tzedek says. Now, l'chura, we know that when you learn Torah, tzarich liyas gam kein b'bchinas bittul. Torah can't just be an exercise of intelligence. When you're saying an exercise of intelligence means that it involves a person's presence of being, person's seichel, and an exchange of ideas, a development of ideas, because then it's not Torah. Because if a person doesn't sense that this is God's Torah, that he's learning the Eibishter's Torah, it's nicht Torah. Then it's just Chachma. The person has to always sense that he's learning the Eibishter's Torah, which is Bittul. So l'chayre in Limud Torah, you also have the idea of Bittul, which is the nullification to the nothingness, to the Eibishter. So it says, "V'gam eisik Torah tzorach liis gam ki mibchinas bittul liis v'lo yischalalu." So you shouldn't create a space where the Eibishter isn't. Shaloi lasas chalul v'hefsik chas v'shalom, not to chas v'shalom with a person's own ego to cause a blockage, a density of self that blocks the transmission. The imloi ken gam Torah imloi. Chazal say that if a person doesn't learn Torah properly, then even Torah he doesn't have. Elo she'im kol zeh hu b'bchinas keli. Even though it's Torah with a bittul, it's still a keli. You're still yourself. You're yourself. That's batal. Your humbled self, but you're still yourself. Avo mesiras nefesh. The real inyan of bittul is mesiras nefesh. Hainu lotzeis ma'akeli legamri. You're ascending and getting out of your keli completely. L'fikach, and therefore lahamshech hayichud dezun, to draw the yichud of zuchra v'nukva, which is oiros and kelim, shramshachas oir shekvar malubish b'keli, which is drawing the light that's already enclosed in a keli. Mamshichin, you can draw that down alidei halos man, through raising feminine waters, the asik ha-Torah v'mitzvahs, of asik of Torah mitzvahs. Shehein hein mibchinazah v'nukva, which Torah mitzvahs is from the ze'er anpin and nukva, because mitzvahs are in malchus. We all know the rule. Mitzvahs are in malchus. Mitzvahs HaMelech, and Torah is primarily in the Ze'er Anpin. Tefer, Torah, right? So, Torah is in Zah, Mitzvahs Benukva, Mitzvahs are in Nukva. So therefore, by learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, you're affecting the Ze'er Anpin and Malchus. But yet, the Rebbe says, even though Torah and mitzvahs is basically already channeling the energy that's already within the system, and therefore you don't need so much, you need bittul, but you don't need mesiras nefesh. Yet, he says, even in regular Torah and mitzvahs, has to have a touch of mesiras nefesh. In addition to your mesiras nefesh by Shema, all day long there has to be a little mesiras nefesh. Because the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that how does a Jew overcome his Yetzer Hara? If you have laziness, you have apathy, you have indifference, or you have a desire to do something which is not according to the Torah, how do you conquer your Yetzer Hara? So the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, a Jew should always remember his willingness to give up his life al Kiddush Hashem. That his relationship with Hashem is so important to him and to her, that I'm willing to die not to be severed from God. And by doing that, I will always push myself to do a mitzvah. I will give myself that extra charge. Even though I'm tired, I'm lazy to get my negelwasser, I can make myself all kinds of excuses. I can walk less than, it's not such a major, whatever. I'll go to the sink, I'll wash, but I should really put negelwasser by the bed. So you say to yourself, Gewalt! I'm a Jew, I'm willing to die for God. And now this is something important to the Eibishter, that I should put negelwasser by my bed. So you know what? I'm overcoming this tiredness. I'm going to run and get the negelwasser. Not only am I going to get the negelwasser, but I'm not going to fill up the negelwasser from the bathroom sink, because I don't want to wake up in the morning and the first thing touch water from the bathroom. I'm going to go all the way to the kitchen. I'm going to schlep myself in the kitchen, even though I'm exhausted. And it's after the Thursday night shir. I'm so tired already. I did already. I was yaitz already. I'm just plopping into bed. No, I'm going to go to the kitchen, get pure water, and from there put it. Why? Because I'm such a fanatic, I would die for God. I can't overcome this little laziness. That's what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. So you see that in order to do any mitzvah, what are you supposed to think about? Mesiras nefesh. So you see that there's a little bit of mesiras nefesh juice. There's a little mesiras nefesh juice in every mitzvah. Like this you can overcome everything. It should always be etched in a person's heart, this inyan. Why? Because even though Torah and mitzvahs is moving the oiros that are already in Kalim, yet we should always still connect to that quintessential point. Anyways, but still, In general, Torah mitzvahs is not an act of Mesiras Nefesh. Torah mitzvahs involves you living, you being you, but being a godly you. But you being you. Aval, here the Rebbe says, hear what the Alter Rebbe says? Look inside. Aval over here, Kedei la'amshich yichud Abba ve'ima, in order to cause the yichud of Chachma and Bina, what does it mean? The Rebbe says Chachma is not just another sphera, Chachma is not just another attribute. Oh, another attribute. No. Chachma, shehu hamshachas or chadash, this is already drawing down a new light. Mashallah nimshach hadayin ba'kelim d'Atzilus, a new light that has not been inside the kelim of Atzilus at all. Klal. Kiyim shetzrichim lo oirer, we need to arouse, ulahamshich, and to draw down oir chadash, a new light, v'hamshacha chadasha, and a totally new flow, mamish ma'orein soif baruch hu, literally a complete new light from the oirein soif. Baruch hu ashezeu in yichud Abba ve'ima, which this is the yichud of Chachma and Bina. The ein apirish, because he says the meaning is not shas cholas hamshacha ma'abba ve'ima levad. The hamshach over here doesn't mean it's starting in Chachma. It doesn't start in Chachma. Ela ki Abba ve'ima makablim mekeser. Chachma and Bina, Abba and Ima, father and mother, receive from Keser. The Keser ma'atik, and Keser receives from Atik, from the Ancient One. And the Ancient One, Ad Ein Sof, until the Ein Sof himself, Hamatzal Elyon, the supernal emanator, Kuhu levado yesh boy koyach, because he is the only one who has koyach, lechadish tamid, to make the real innovator is only the supernal, the very quintessential beginning, which is the Eibishter himself. Because he has no end. The emanations, they have an end, and therefore they can't really innovate anything new. If so, the Alter Rebbe is saying, if it's really a hamshacha from the Eibishter, from God himself, why are we calling it a yichud of Abba and Ima, Chachma and Bina? Why are we attributing it to Chachma? It's referred to as the yichud of Chachma and Bina, lefi ki biyoysa oira dayan lamayla ma'abba ve'ima, because when the light is still higher than Chachma and Bina, hu b'china stima de kol stimin. When it's higher than Chachma, it is hidden and hidden and hidden. It is hidden from all hidden. V'ne'la ma'oid, and it is so concealed. And therefore, v'reishes hagiloi, and the beginning of the revelation, hu b'chachma. It starts to emerge in a way that you can at least be conscious of it in Chachma. And from there it comes into Bina. That's why we attributed it as if it starts in Chachma, because that's the beginning of where it can be sensed, there it can be felt. Beyond that, we know nothing about it. As stated in Priyetz Chaim, Shara Krishma Perik Yud Aleph, Mavur Barichos Yosef L'chuti Torah Pashas Vayera, explained in those places that whenever we say a yichud of Chachma and Bina, it really means a yichud of drawing down from the essence of the Eibishter himself. V'ayim B'Zoyer Pashas B'Shalach Tav Sav Megimel Lamed Beis Al Pasuk Mimamakim Krosicha, from the depth I call you. I call you from the depth. Amar Reb Cheskia Kad Atika, which is Atik, Stima the kol stimen, the closed of all closed, Boya lezamna berchon la'almen, wants to prepare blessings for the world. Ashrei kula v'uchlil kula b'haya mikayila. So everything gets included in this deep place, which I think is referring to Chachma. Ayin b'migdash melech sham b'shem Arizal, v'ayin oid b'parshas vayigash tafresh yodam et aleph tochazi beis paroi ayin sham. I didn't look up these sources, I can't tell you what it says there. But then he gives another reason. Another reason, Shanikral Shem Yichud Abba Ve'ima. Why is it called the Yichud of Chachma and Bina? Because when once the light arrives in Chachma and Bina, then it's actually coming down from it's connecting already into the indwelling state, into the mamale, as opposed to remaining in a level of sovev. How is this explanation different than the explanation that he just said before? That higher than Chachma, it's unknown to us, it's completely concealed, and only from Chachma can we begin to have an awareness of it, and therefore we start from Chachma. What is he saying now? Something similar, that until this, on all the higher levels, it's still the level of Sovev. Once it comes from Chachma to Bina, it's transitioning from Sovev to the Mamale. So it's becoming kind of maybe, of course, the same thing. But I think what he means over here different is that now the main emphasis is that it's being inserted, it's beginning to come down into Kalim. So, okay, not sure. But the main thing is, and therefore, in order to evoke and to draw down, literally from the Oirein Soif, that requires that you get out completely from your Kalim. Through this powerful Mesiras Nefesh that Tzaddikim have, for instance. That's how you're Mamshich Me'ikra Dekula, from the very, very very beginning of everything, Hamshacha Chadasha, a new Hamshacha. The Imloi Kain, because if you don't get out of your Kalim, if you don't get out of yourself, you don't have the potency, the ability to be able to draw from the Ein Sof Mamish. And therefore, that's why we say tshuva is so powerful. By the way, why is tshuva so powerful? Because when a yid does tshuva, a deep, powerful, heart-wrenching tshuva, he suddenly breaks out of all of his kalim. The pintel yid comes out with all of its force to the point that Rabbi Elazar ben Derdaya couldn't handle it and he died. And even though a person that does tshuva doesn't die, but he's pretty close to that intense moment that his heart is ready to explode. That's why he's weeping so uncontrollably. That is breaking out of kalim and it's reaching oiros that are beyond kalim. That's the whole nekuda. Same idea is with Kriya Shema. So for that we have to be ma'oyer feminine waters with Mesiras Nefesh. Through this one is ma'oyer and he draws down from the essence of the Oirein Soif Baruch Hu. And he draws down a whole new Hamshacha. Al Yedei Yichud Abba Ve'ima. Through the medium of Abba Ve'ima, the union of Abba Ve'ima. So it's not the Yichud that's so important, it's what you're bringing through this Yichud. And this will be also understood from what is explained elsewhere. Now I was going to explain it through a different angle. In Divrei HaMaschal Pasuk Eliyahu it says, Shema Atzilus Libiyah, that from Atzilus, that from the world of Atzilus, that it should come down to Bria, Yetzir, and Asiyah. Hagam sha'or nimshach ayadei parsa. Even though the light, since Atzilus is still divine, and Bria, Yetzir, and Asiyah, the three nether worlds, are already the realms of creation. So even though it's a tremendous quantum leap for the light to come down from Atzilus to Bria, it's still considered an evolving, an evolution. It's still considered an order of step by step. From the Ein Soif himself to Atzilus, who shaloi keseder ishtalshalos. That is not at all in the order of ishtalshalos. Rak al yedei tzimtzum u'makom panui. From the Oirein Soif to come down into Atzilus, it can't evolve. Even a gazillion evolvements will never bring it down to Atzilus. So the only way it can move from Atzilus to what? Not from Atzilus, from the Oirein Soif to Atzilus, is the light has to be completely hidden. That's the idea of a tzimtzum or makom panui, and clear the space from any light, as if there was never light, and get to a complete emptiness. And then you introduce something totally new. There can't even be a tiny trace from what was before. Because if there's a tiny trace from what before, it would still be Oirein Sof, and it wouldn't allow for Atzilus. Because Atzilus is already Kalim, it's definitions. So that's the real meaning of a quantum leap, a total metamorphosis. Because no one has any erech to you. Chad v'loy b'chushban. The Eibishter is chad, and not at all in the cheshbon. Ein sham barichos, look barichos. So since you have to cause something so deep and so high, so now in the person as well, yesh b'chines hishtalshalus u'mashalam aylam hishtalshalus. By a person there is also hishtalshalus. Just like above there is this idea of the evolving energy flowing from level to level. And then there is what's beyond hishtalshalus. So by the person as well, it's also that way. In a human being, from chachma and downward, it's called hishtalshalus. Why? Because once you have an epiphany, what's Chachma? Chachma is the first epiphany. Once you have an epiphany in Chachma, then automatically it will evolve into Bina. You'll think about it and you'll start seeing all kinds of ramifications, details, and so forth. From there, you'll start, if you're thinking about it deeply and you have the Das, you have to apply a little more energy over here to really attach yourself to it. And then you'll start getting excited about it. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You start getting excited about it. If you learn enough Chassidus, you'll start getting excited about God. It's inevitable about it. It's going to happen to you. And then you start getting emotions. And then from emotions, it's inevitable. It's going to catch up with your behavior. You're going to start behaving a little better. That's called ishtalshalos. It's going to move from level to level. It's going to translate. And that's from Chachma and downward. Seichel, he says, intellect or midos and emotions, machshava dibur amaisa, thought, speech, and action. So when you're working from within your own Seder Ishtalshalos, from your own evolving order, so when you're drawing down from above, you're also drawing from Seder Ishtalshalos, from what works within this chain-like continuum. A Matzilus Lebiyaf, a Matzilus, and in Atzilus itself within the Spheroids, and finally into Bria Tzir Nasi. But to draw down Amshachas, a new light from the Ein Sof, which is above the entire system, above this entire progression. So here you're going to have to activate your Mesiras Nefesh. Shehu benefesh gamkein b'china shalamayla Meseder Ishtalshalos. Mesiras Nefesh is not part of your energies, your regular abilities. Mesiras Nefesh is because Mesiras Nefesh is not intellect, is not based on reason. When a person is experiencing that drive of Mesiras Nefesh, it's in a sense an insanity. It's a wildness. It's basically you peel away, you get past your entire system of self, kind of steps away for a moment or whatever the duration is, and the true essence of who you are at your core comes gushing forth, and that's not the evolving systematic flow of controlled energy. It's like a burst of like, and the hainu lamayla masechel v'tam. It's complete, totally beyond reason and explanation. V'asechel legabel lamayla masechel v'achachma, and sechel compared to what's beyond chachma, who shaloi b'seder ishtalshalos. That's not already. That doesn't work in a order of evolving energy. Kamoshekasav, like Ataka says, v'hachachma me'ayin timatze. That chachma doesn't have anybody that it can trace itself to. Chachma can't say, I identify with this is my father. Chachma is a new entity. Because chachma from beyond chachma is me'ayin. It doesn't know its source. That means there is a complete disconnect from chachma to what's beyond chachma. And chachma is therefore called a metzia. That's also hinted to in the word metzia. Me'ayin timatze. Timatze means a metzia, like you find a lost object. When usually every object you have, you know where you got it. Oh, I went to IKEA and I bought this. I went to Target, I bought this in Walmart. Whatever. I got this at whatever place it is. But when you ask you, where'd you get this? Or I found this on the street. So where does it come from? I don't know. I don't have a source. It just ended up, it just suddenly appeared. I can't trace it. So Chachma is called the Metzia because it can't trace its origins. Because it's not, that's the idea, that beyond Chachma is completely outside. And what does that represent in the person? It means, it's not your ordinary consciousness. It's your Yechidah Shebenefesh. Pirish Yechidah Shebenefesh. It's your very Pintaliyid, your very Yechidah Shebenefesh, which we don't know it. It's hidden. Our essential Jewishness, our essential true essence is hidden from us. But if it does appear, you experience it as a powerful Mesiras Nefesh Tigaratzen, a desire for God with Mesiras Nefesh. Dafka through this, so Dafka through this, again, he's showing how it has to align itself, how it has to be commensurate with what you want to draw down. When you want to bring down the Eibishter himself, you have to also connect from a place that's beyond the order. From through that, you're ma'oyer, and you draw down from beyond the ishtalshalos. This is what it says in Pri Etz Chaim Shara Krishma Perikei. The ruchin v'nafshin shel hatzadikim, that the level of ruach and the level of nefesh of tzadikim, heiman umad dezun, they are the masculine, the feminine waters. Man means Maayon nukvin, the feminine waters. Umayan duchnin, and masculine waters, dezun of zuchra v'nukvin. Which means that tzadikim, through their avoda, so their neshama itself, their nefesh and their ruach becomes Maayon nukvin, elevating waters. But then it continues and it says, neshama lineshama, v'neshama, the two higher levels of neshama. The level that's neshama. Again, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, and then there's a level called neshama lineshama, which is what the Zohar refers to it. In Kabbalah, the neshama lineshama is divided into two levels, chai and yechida. It's called neshama lineshama, the neshama to the neshama. So in that Eitz Chaim, it says like this, that the two lower levels, nefesh and ruach, that's the halas man that you use to raise feminine waters to zuchra v'nukva, to male and female above, to Maayon, but neshama and neshama lineshama, that's already Maayon nukvin. That's a much higher feminine waters, and that reaches chachma and bina. He says, "Hemanu ma da abba ve'ima." That's the feminine waters, and the masculine waters for abba and ima for chachma and bina. V'ayim bezeh b'shara Yechudim perek ches. Look in Shara Yechudim perek ches. V'haynu, and now it makes sense. Ki ruach v'nefesh zeu b'chinas oir hamalubish b'keli. Because the level of ruach and the level of nefesh in a person, this is the human being that's very, very organized and systemized and works within kelim, works within containers and vessels and what makes sense and the like. So since you're working with your level of neshama that's enclosed in keli, so you're therefore mamshich da'or that's enclosed in canal. But to mamshich the yichud of Abba ve'ima chachma and bina tzarich liyas Allah's man, we have to be raising feminine waters b'pchinas ma'oitcha, from the level called ma'otcha. Like in Shema we say b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha, that's your nefesh and your ruach, all your heart. It's like a lot. It's filling, your love is filling your whole heart, but it's still containable in the heart. B'chol nafshecha, it's filling your whole soul, your whole being, but it's still filling your being. B'chol ma'oitcha means overflow. It pops out of the keli. It's just gushing outward. It's like when the cup is full by kiddush and it flows over. That's b'chol ma'odecha. And that's your neshama lineshama. That's why neshama lineshama is called or makif. It's not in a keli. It's pouring over like fizz, flowing over on a champagne on the outside. Here too, it's going all the way over, and that's b'chol ma'oitcha. B'li gvul, therefore it's limitless. Shehu b'chinas yechida, which primarily this is the yechida. V'zeh inyan neshama lineshama. This is the idea of neshama lineshama. As it is known, it's higher than being the neshama for the kelim. It's the oil that's beyond the kelim. All of this was to explain the first Kadosh. What does it mean that the first Kadosh is you're elevating to this chachma place? This is what it means. It means you're coming to a place of Mesiras Nefesh. You're getting out of yourself. You're raising your energy out of the container. And what you're doing up there is you're raising the oiros that are in the spherois, especially in Teferes, in the 6 emotions, and you're raising that energy to the place of chachma that's beyond spherois. That's the first Kadosh. The Pirish B'Rei Mehemna, it's stated in Rei Mehemna, Shu Histalkus Harvav, this is the Histalkus, this is the rising of the Vav, Shu Zad Atzilus, which is the Ze'er Anpin of Atzilus, B'Chachma is being elevated into Chachma, Shenikra Kodesh. The reason why it's called Kodesh is because Chachma is completely transcendental. The Aliyazu at this elevation, Hainu Sheza Oila, that Ze'er Anpin is rising, B'Pchinas Man. Here the Ze'er Anpin is so high, but it is considered man, it's considered feminine waters, Because compared to Chachma, Ze'er Anpin is considered, in a sense, female. Because it's receiving, it's a recipient from Chachma. And now it's rising up to her source, but in a manner of Mesiras Nefesh. Through this Yichud Abba Ve'ima, and through her Mesiras Nefesh, she will cause the Yichud of Chachma and Bina, which, as we explained earlier, means not just Chachma and Bina, which means new light. Which this thing happens through our Mesiras Nefesh. And above it's also it's the bittul, it's the nullification, and the hiskalulus and the inclusion of the Ze'er Anpin l'mayla above, because the Ze'er Anpin is exactly what it's called. Ze'er Anpin means a small face, and when the Ze'er Anpin realizes what it means, Or Ein Sof, it gets out of its smallness. It loses itself in the Ein Sofishkeit of the Eibishter. So this is really cool, because last week I taught the Maimer Simani Kachaisen. And I was debating this week if I should teach Parshas Emor, or if I should teach the explanation on the Maimer Simani Kachaisen. That was my debate this week. So I decided, let's teach the explanation on the Maimer of Emor that I taught 12 years ago. So while I'm learning over here, it says, look at the biur of Simani Kachaisen, which was the other Maimer I was considering to learn this week, the explanation on Simani Kachaisen. Behefresh, which over there he explained, Shebein Aliyah Sa'olamais, between the Aliyah of worlds in general, Bein Aliyah Zah, and the Aliyahs of the Ze'er Anpin, B'Bchinas Ibur, when it goes up to be in a state of impregnation, B'mei Imay, in its mother's womb, which means she goes up into Bina, which means she's going back into a state of it's like undoing her existence. And when she does that, she's drawing down totally new moichen, which is exactly what we're talking about new. Moichen de gadlus means new revelations, new light that has never been part of Seder Ishtalshalos. Ayin Shal. I didn't look over there, so I don't know what he says, but from what I'm learning over here, this seems to be saying what it stated over there. Dafka, this causes this deep union of Chachma and Bina. Chachma is called Kodesh without a Vav. And therefore Chachma is still considered, the same reason it's called Kodesh. Kodesh means it's removed, muvdal. Rashi says on the word Kedoshim, Tiyu Perushim, separated. It's undefinable, and because it's undefinable, it has no yesh, it has no definable something, and therefore it's called ayin, nothingness. V'habina nikra yesh. Bina is already called something, because when you have an idea in Bina, you can already explain it, you have already some definition. V'hayichud, and what's the yichud? Hu sheyimshech v'yishave. It should be drawn and should come into being, me'ayin, from the nothingness of Chachma, which is still the Or Ein Sof, liyesh, into the somethingness of Bina. V'amshach Or Chodesh, this is considered a new light. V'lav dafka b'Chachma u'Bina d'Atzilus levad. It's not only drawing down in Chachma and Bina of Atzilus, ki em shoyrish amshacha zu, but rather the root of this amshacha, it's way above the world of Atzilus. Even in the world of Akudim, which is much higher, it should be drawn from Chachma and Bina in that world, and so on, higher and higher. And this is what we mean when we say, Baruch Oimer v'Oiseh. Blessed is the one who says and he does. What does that mean? Amira hi b'Chachma. Amira is Baruch means it should be drawn down. Oimer into Chachma, because Amira is in Chachma, va'asiya bebina, and Asiya Oiseh is in Bina. What's the shaykhs of Asiya to Bina and Amira? Shem Lamed Beis Nesivos. These are the 32 pathways, the Shvilin and also small little paths, Hanim Shachem Chachma lebina, that draw from Chachma to Bina. Shem Lamed Beis Shemois Elokim, which we find that in the story of Bereshis, it says 32 times the name Elokim in the story of creation. Why? Because creation is innovation from nothing to something. That means it has to come from Chachma to Bina. And we know how does Chachma give to Bina? Through 32 pathways of wisdom. That's why the 32 pathways. And from Chachma to Bina, is an incredible tzimtzum. Because to take from nothingness and to define it as something, why do some people have a hard time explaining things? Because they have a hard time contracting. Sometimes it's because the ideas are so rich, they have so much light, and they can't contract into definable things. So the art of Chachma giving to Bina means you have to contract. That's why it's 32 pathways of Elokim. Elokim means contraction. That is in the work of creation. And this is the idea of Baruch Oimer. Oimer is in Chachma, and Oise is already in Bina. That's Maisei Bereshis. Bereshis is Chachma. What does it mean, Maisei Bereshis? Maisei Bereshis means the Bina, what Bereshis does. Reshis is Chachma. Reshis does, Maiseh does action. By giving to Bina, that's already giving already the seeds of creation. It's creating already. The Bina is already the skeleton of creation. Bina is already definable existence. V'zeu kulam, that's why we say kulam b'chachma, asisa. Through chachma, the Eibishter asisa. Asisa b'bina. The asiya is in Bina. He's explaining why is Bina only called asiya? Because asiya means you have already something concrete. Bina is called yesh. And therefore, in slapshus oirin soif hu b'chachma. And that, for that very reason, the enclosement of the Orin Sof can't be in Bina, can only be in Chachma. Because since the Orin Sof cannot be in a state of Yesh, Orin Sof is exactly that, Ein Sof. That's why Bina that's already rigid, Bina that's already stiff, Bina that has already borders and boundaries, can't facilitate Orin Sof, because it's the Orin Sof. Only through the medium of Chachma. Through the medium of Chachma, the Orin Sof can arrive even in Bina. But the first Tislapshus, the first Keli has to be in somebody that's totally batal, totally ayin. Elechein Tislapshus Orin Sof hu b'Chachma davken Chachma. B'pnei shechachma hu b'chinas bittel, because Chachma is bittel. K'mo shekosem Sifrei Shambeinin in Perek Lamed Hey b'shem HaMagid Nishma Se'ed. Like it says in Sifrei Shambeinin in the name of the Magid. V'hainu. The Magid explains why Chachma is the only recipient of the Eibishter. Because the Magid says that Chachma is koyach ma, the power of bittul, and Chachma has no problem being completely nothing. And Bina has a problem already doing that. And that's why Chachma can receive all this unbelievable light. And over there in Tanya explains that Chachma, the only identity of Chachma is only one thing. You know what it's all about? Ha-hasaga atzma. This very apprehension, shemeseges and understands oitzim habitl. Chachma appreciates the intense bitl, the kula kamei kalachshav, how there's nothing, how all before him is not, mamish, literally, ve'ein oid, and there's nothing else but him. And how no one can grasp it. So Chachma therefore is in total, there's nothing but an Eibishter, and nothing can grasp him, so Chachma has to be completely nothing. So it's in the state of nothingness. And that's precisely why Chachma is truth. Because Bina is already giving its opinion on it. Bina is already giving a slant. Once it's giving a slant already, it's not truth anymore. Of course Bina is truth, talking about the Eibishter's Bina. But still, you can't call it real emes. The real emes is it as it truly is, not it as someone has already defined it. Bina is already taking a take on it. Bina is already giving an explanation. Nikrayesh, Bina is called something. As explained elsewhere between the difference between Moich and the Abba of Shabbos. Shabbos, it says, the Shabbos Kodesh is Bittul, is Chachma, and Moich and the Ema, which is Yontif, is already more Ema. It's already motherdig. Shepchenes Moich and the Ema, Zau Makar Seder Ishtalshus. The Moich of mother is already the beginning of Seder Ishtalshus. Me'ela li'ela, from cause to effect. Ava moichen da Abba, but moichen da Abba, hu mashal amayla masei the shtalshalus. The moichen of Chacham is still beyond the shtalshalus, because it's beyond any definition. Nothing, it hasn't become anything yet. V'zeu shadafka yedei aliyas havav, and that's why dafka, when the vav goes up, shu b'china shamayim, which is the shamayim, the zah, the atzilus, when the ze'er anpin of atzilus, which is already defined, because it's what? It has already spheres, attributes, definitive attributes. But when it goes out of itself, it goes up l'b'chinas kodesh hu chachma. It rises beyond its definitions to appreciate, to experience an experience of bittul that's higher than its level. But it rises to a higher level, shu chachma. Shu b'chinas bittul v'ayin, which is that level of bittul and ayin. Al yedei zeh u'mamshech yichud abba v'ima. Dafka that causes this yichud of chachma and bina. Sheyimshech hamshacha chadasha ma'erin seif. A new light from the erin seif should be drawn. V'yishava v'yimshech ma'ayin layesh. And it should be come into being and draw down from nothing to something. V'zeu inyan, now we'll also understand the idea asrafim oimdim mimaloi. Now, this avodah that happens in the spheroids of Atzilus is translated lower also into the Srafim. The Srafim, the Malachim, they're a continuation of this avodah. And these Malachim too, they burn up to a point of non-beingness. And that's why they're called the burnt ones. Srafim. They burn out of their existence. And therefore they stand mimal, above loi. Loi is called him. That's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the six spheres. That's the Ze'er Anpin. The Srafim stand above him because they're batal. Loi are the six spheres when they're not batal, when they can be called Loi, him, as opposed to. So when those, as explains it, Kadosh, and this is one group of Malachim who says Kadosh pam achas. They say Kadosh only once. What does that mean? They're one-track minded. They're on the bittul track. They don't have any ability to do anything else but bittul. And that's why they keep on getting burnt up. This is the first Kadosh. That's what they say. Their avodah is to become absorbed, and to become nullified by experiencing this very idea of kula kanei kalachshiv. All before him is not. Below, this is called Mesiras Nefesh. Up there it's called Srafim, down here it's called Mesiras Nefesh. And therefore, they stand above him. Pirish Loi, what does it mean, him? Simple, it says, Srafim oimdim mimaloi, higher than the Shechina. So the Baal Shem Tov there, how can it be higher than the Shechina? The Baal Shem Tov answers, since their desire is to bond and get lost in a place that's higher than their source, because they realize their source is limited, Shechina is limited. They want to get to the Kedusha, to the transcendence of God. Therefore, they stand above the Shechina. Here he's saying it even because Shechina is shochen down. They're yearning to go to a place higher than Shechina. So, and the Baal Shem Tov says, in a place where a person's machshava is, that's where he is. Since their thoughts are on a level higher than Shechina, because they want to dissolve in the Orein Soif, so they're higher than the Shechina, because that's where their desire is. So, but here he takes it even a higher level. Shechina is considered for sure already definitive, because Shechina is the energy of God that it comes down, Malchus, comes down to be part of the creation. But even HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which are the six midos, they're called Loi. He's going to explain Loi, him. And why they're called Loi? Because the word Loi is Gematria 36. And the 36 is 6 times 6 is 36. So it's the 6 midos, each one encompassing all the other midos. 6 times 6 is 36. Gematria, the word Eileh. Leah, who's those same letters as the word Eileh, Leah, gave birth to 6 sons. 6 times 6 is 36. When her 6 sons are Behizkalalos, one with the other, they're 36. That's Madrega. And why is it called Eileh? The reason it's called Eileh is because it's already something that's definable. You can point your finger, you can say Eileh. When do you say Eileh? These are. You can point to them. It's almost like Zeh, where you can point to. So we're dealing with something already that has what? Definition. Since the Srafim are yearning for the light that's undefined, so Oim de Mimal, they're standing above Loi to him. So he says, what is Loi called? The drawing of the light, the light that was already drawn in vessels. It's the Vav of Kadosh. It already has a definition. V'gam, Vav Pamim Vav is what I mentioned earlier. 6 times 6, Gematria Lamed Vav, is Gematria 36. In which we spoke about, we learned it in a Maayon just recently. Mi creates Eila. Mi is Bina, and it creates Eila. The Eila hainu Shisha Midos, these are the 6 Midos. Kol Echad Kolol Meshisha, each one is included 6. Gematria Eila, which is Gematria Eila. Aval Asrafim, but the Srafim, Oim de Mimaloi, they're standing above the Loi. Sheheim Gorimim, and they cause Gam Batzilus. And when they yearn, and basically their yearning has to do with our yearning. When we say Kadosh, the Malachim get into the Srafim state. And they go bangers, and which causes the spherois of Atzilus to also realize how limited they are, and also want to be lost in the Orein Soif. See what's happening? And this is all causing an inclusion of everything back in the Orein Soif, which serves as feminine waters to cause a download, which is going to be the next stage. Aliyas avav, the raising of the vav, lepchinas kodesh, to the kodesh without a vav, mashalamaylo lepchinas vav, that which is beyond the vav. Valderech masha kaseh b'makam acher, similar to what is stated elsewhere with the Ramascha lech lecha. Oy be'inyam, in the pasuk it says, Hu asanu, he made us, v'lo yanachnu, and we are to him. We say it in Mizmor L'Soda every day after Baruch She'avar. Hu asanu, he made us, v'lo yanachnu, and we are to him. But there's 2 ways we read the word velo. We can read this is the kri and the ksiv. We read it velo yanachnu, and to him we are. But there's also the ksiv, the way it's written in the pasuk is with an aleph. Velo anachnu, we are not. Hu asanu, he made us, velo yanachnu, and we are not. So what's the difference if the velo is velo yanachnu and to him we are? Or v'lo yanachnu when we are not. So this is the difference. V'lo ba'alev, v'lo b'vav. So this is the dip. Loy with a vav is already low. It's to him. It's when the spheroids of Atzilus are in their place, and when they're in their place, they're functioning consistent with who they are. But they are something. As opposed to when they go into a state of velo, they're not, which means they're going into the aleph, they're going into the chachma, they're getting lost in the Ein Sof, then they become batal. Velo, they're not. V'al derech ma shekase be'idrez zuta, that's Tzadik Beis, so if I'm a Beis, I'll pasuk v'loi niskenu alilois ayin sham. V'al derech zeh gives another example for that, with the vav and the aleph. You exchange a vav and an aleph. And it represents these 2 levels. One of them is, the vav is when you have identity, and the aleph is when you don't have identity. We know that when we pronounce God's unity in 2 ways every day by Shema. A very strong pronunciation of his unity, and a lighter pronunciation of his unity. The strong pronunciation of the Eibishter's unity is Shema Yisroel Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Echad is the strong pronunciation. Echad is no one but him. What's a lesser pronunciation of God's unity? Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus La'olam Vod. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom forever. So the Zohar refers to it as Yechud Tata, the lower unity. So why is it unity? What does it have to do with unity? Blessed. It's a blessing to God. What does it do with unity? So it says, because in Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus La'olam Vod, you also have the word Echad. Where do you have the word Echad? In Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus La'olam Vod. There's no Echad there. But the answer is there is. Because the word Va'ed, which is the last word of the sentence, exchanges with the word Echad. Echad and Va'ed change. How does Echad and Va'ed exchange? They work as follows. The Aleph changes with the Vav. The Aleph HaMechad gets exchanged with the Vav. Why? Because they're both vowels. Aleph and Vav are both vowels. The Ches and the Ayin exchange because they both come from the same family of letters. They're both guttural letters. They come from the throat. Ches and Ayin. Ayin is really, we don't say a good Ayin. Some of the Sfardim, they have a really good ayin. You can really hear the difference between an aleph and an ayin. So it's a guttural pronunciation. And then the dalid in echad and the dalid in vad are also exchanged. Even though it's the same dalid, it's not the same dalid. Because in echad, the dalid is large. In vad, it's a regular dalid, maybe even small. So it's all three letters are changing. But take a look. What is the aleph is changing? The aleph HaMechad is changing with what? With the vav. What is that telling you? That when the vav is read as an aleph, then it's mamish echad. There's Eibishter, there's nothing but Eibishter. You don't feel yourself at all. But when the aleph of echad lowers itself down and goes into vad, and the vav is already more of a something. It's being drawn down. It's becoming a vav. Like we're saying the whole time now, loy anachnu to him or loy not. Bittul, complete bittul or not. As he says over here. And that's the difference, what we're saying, what we're learning the whole time. Is the Ze'er Anpin in its place, then it's more like a sphera, an attribute, something distinct, or is the Ze'er Anpin in a high, going up into Chachma, and then it's lost in the Aleph, and then it's nullified in the Orin Sof, and that's Mesiris Nefesh, that's the Bittul. Exchanging of letters. Echad, you're changing it. Nimtza mashe be'echad zeu b'chinas Aleph. That which is in the Echad is the Aleph. Reisha the Asfin, which is the first of all letters. Bechalufe Asfin, when we exchange them, zeu Vav, that's the Vav. The zeu b'chinas Va'ed, and that's the Va'ed. When you're doing Mesiris Nefesh be'echad, zemimal levav. That's higher than the vav, the va'ed, because the Shema Yisroel Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is a much higher level than Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Levad. Ki va'ed u yichud tata, because va'ed is considered the lower yichud, where you have a self. You just recognize that without God, I wouldn't have achieved this. I wouldn't have accomplished it. So I'm nullified, I'm surrendered, but I still feel like I'm somebody. As opposed to people that, as opposed to a level where you don't even know that you exist, because Yechudi Allah, there's only Eibush there. Ma'asha Enkein Echad Yechudi Allah, which is a much deeper unity. And with this, we'll also understand what it says in Jerusalem Talmud Reish Perik Tes, the Brachas, in the 9th chapter of Brachas. A beautiful thing. Of Yoshel Rekia Mahalach Tavkuf Shana. It talks about the size of the cosmos. So it says the thickness of our 7 Rakiim, the 7 heavens. So the thickness of each heaven is a journey of 500 years. At which pace? How fast are you moving? Speed of light? I don't know exactly. A journey of 500 years. A journey of who? Who's making that journey? You go slower or faster, depending on how many miles per hour you go. That's what you're going to get to in 500 years. But whatever that means, obviously it means something very spiritual. Then it says Talfei Achayis, the feet of the. Then it goes higher, above the 7 heavens are the Chayos HaKodesh, the supernal beasts. And the Gemara is really cool, because the Gemara says, okay, so how big are the feet of these beasts? Thank you. How are you supposed to know that? You're talking about above all 7 heavens. It's the coolest thing. Like these guys, scientists, are trying to look still down here, and the Chachamim are already talking about the Tal. So the Gemara goes ahead and tells you that the Talfei Achayis, that their bottom part of their feet is a distance of 500 years plus 15 years. Not 500, 515 years. Why? Because it says in the Pasuk, Raglei, and their legs, regel yeshara, they have a straight leg. They're like human. Human legs are parted, two legs. That's why when we daven Shemon Esrei and we resemble the Malachim, we put our feet together to be as one. The Malachim have like one leg. Raglei yeshara, they stand in front of Hashem. Good. The word yeshara is gematria 515. Shin Reish is 500. Shin is 300, Reish is 200. And then a Yud and a Hey. So it's Yud K, higher. So the thickness of the heavens are only 500. But the thickness of the width, the feet of the Chayas, they're 515. So what does this mean? What's the significance? So take a look what the Tzemach Tzedek explains. The ain't no moving, it's not understood. Oh, hold on. Talfei achayis ma'al chamish me'yeshana v'chamish esrei and 15 minyan yeshara, which is the same minyan as the word yeshara. Huve b'toisvis perik beis the chagiga daf yud gimel lamed aleph. The ain't no moving, it's not understood. The ma'al inyan, what does it mean? Sha'ar regel, that the leg chamish esrei davka 15 yoiser ma'oivei arakiyim, more than the thickness of the rakia. V'shebein kol rakia, and then in between each heaven is also 500 years. Shahako mahalach tofkuf shana, because the Gemara says that the size of each heaven is 500 years, and in between each one is 500 years. But suddenly, when you get to the feet, it's not 500, it's 515. The Inyan, and he explains like this. What's the idea of 500, Tafk? Kitak, which is 500, shana nimshach mebchinas hei midais. Since the heavens come from the Ebershter's midais, if you listen to my Monday class this week, the Parsha My Life class, I was talking about heaven and earth, and that heaven comes from Ze'er Anpin, and earth comes from Malchus. That's what we discussed, that heaven comes from Ze'er Anpin, and earth comes from Malchus. We discussed it there, you can listen. In any case, since heaven comes from, so the Rakiyim, which are part of heaven, they come from the Ze'er Anpin. And what is the Ze'er Anpin? Midais. Now, how many Midais are there? There are 7 Midais. Right? Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. Malchus is also included in the Midais. Because Malchus, initially the woman is part of the man, then later she got severed. I spoke about this on Monday night too. But first it's 7 midas, fine. But even though there are 7 midas, really in truth, there's only 5 midas. Because the 5 midas from Chesed to Hod are original midas. Each one of them has its own character of its own. It has content of what it's all about. This is kindness, this is compassion, this is discipline. Each one has a certain character. The 6th midah, Yesod, and Malchus, they don't have character of their own. The whole idea of Yesod is to gather the energy of all the midas and harmonize them, and then transmit it to Malchus. And what's Malchus all about? Being a keli to receive it all. A recipient. So Yesod and Malchus are not original. They're a composite of all of it. It's a combination of them. So really the character, when you say the essential midas, are 5 midas. Since the heavens are made up of the midas, that's where they come from, the heavens. That's why their size is 500 years, because there are 5 midas, and each midah contributes 100 years into the heavens. That's what he explains. The Inyan Kitav Kufshan and Nimshach Mebchenes Hey Midos from the 5 Midos Sheba Pasuk. L'cha Hashem Hagedula V'Gvura V'Tiferes V'Netzach V'Hod. These are the 5 Midos. To you Hashem is greatness, might, beauty, victory, and glory. Shen Atzmiyas HaMidos. These are the essence of the Midos. Which is in the case of the 6th midah, Pchenas kikol, which is hinted to in the next words of the Pasuk. Kikol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Everything that's in heaven and earth. Why doesn't it have a name? It's called everything, because that's what it is. It's a combination of everything, and its whole idea is b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. It's here to connect shamayim, which are the midos, aretz to malchus. That's what the whole Yisroel is. It's ki kol. It's here to be a kol, his skalalus, to take the midos from shamayim and bring it down to aretz. Hu ashpa shu klalis the chamishas midos atzmiyim. It's ashpa of the 5 essential midos. Kama shekasav bepriyetz chaim shar chav chesav perikav. V'ayim hashekasav the Ramaskal atei tzavta kol gevuretz aretz over there, whatever. The shamayim. Now what shamayim? Hem a shumayim. The shamayim, however, they are fire and water. Hainu shenim shechu mepchenas midos al yoinos. The shamayim is drawn from the supernal midos. And how many midos are there? Not just fire and water. There's also the 5 of them. Not just chesed and gevura. L'cheinem kol elchot tov kuf shana. Each rakia, each shamayim is 500 years. Kefi hamidos ha'atzmiyim, according to the essential midos, shemehem chutzvu, which from them they were excavated. But the malachim, what's the whole point of the malachim? What did we say earlier? They're burning up. They don't want to be part of the midos. They don't want to be defined. These are the malachim that are srafim oimdim. They stand mimaloi, higher than the loy. The loy is the 6 times 6, which are the midos. They transcend it. They're going deep. So they're going past the 5 midos. They're going past the 6 midos, whatever. They're going higher. That's why. What do they reach? When you go higher, you're reaching the Or Ein Sof. Where is the Or Ein Sof captured? In Chachma and in Bina. How much is Chachma and Bina? Chachma and Bina is hinted to. Chachma is hinted to in the Yud, and Bina is hinted to in the Hey. So these malachim, they tap into the Yud K. So that's why, what's their size of their legs? 500, but not just 500. 515. The 15, let's understand something. The 15 that are additional to the 500 is infinitely higher than the 500. The 500 is a level of the 5 spheros. The 15 is Yud K, that's the Ein Sof. 515. They stand above them. Their avoid is lahamshich or meyichud abba ve'ima. Their inyan is to draw down the or from the yichud of chachma and bina. Shalamaylam abchenas amidas, which is higher than the midas. Ki b'chachma malubish or ein soif, because in chachma is enclosed the or ein soif. Shalamaylam maylam abchenas midas, which is far higher than the midas. That's why it says their feet is regel yeshara. Yeshara is gematria 515. Which is 15 more than 500. They draw from the Yud K into the Midos, which are the 500. Because in order to get to the source of the renewal of everything from nothing to something, that's to get to the Yud K. And from there, Hashem, through the Yud K, Tzurei Lamim is the power of the worlds. So that's the idea of the 15. Now, where else do we find these 15? And not only the Malachim have to get them. It's not cool. It's not cool that the Malachim have the Regel Yeshara. They have the feet that they can transcend it, and they go over because they have their angel feet. But we don't have those angel feet. So how do we go there? So right after we get to Hashem Elokechem Emes. And what did we just do when we said Hashem Elokechem Emes? During Kriya Shema, what did we do? We also had Mesiras Nefesh. That's Shema. So we can also access the Yud K. And that's why, you know what we do? Right after we finish Emes, we say, V'yatze, v'nochoin, v'kayom, v'yashar, v'nemon, v'ov, v'chov, v'nechmod, v'noim, v'adir, u'mesukon, u'mekubal, v'toiv, v'yafa. I missed one. It's 15 vavs. So these are the 15 vavs. That's the hamshacha from the Yud K into the vav, into the midos. It's 15 of them. And that's what he's saying. The 15 vavin shebe emes v'yatziv. That's an emes v'yatziv. Shem neged tez vav. And where else do we have tez vav? There's 15 shir hamalos. Shu gam kein lahamshich mibchinas yudkei mibchinas vavkei. The Shir Hamalos is also 15, because they're all with that same intention, to draw from the 15 transcendental Yudkei, which is really from the Or Ein Sof that comes through the Yudkei into the 500, into the rest. And that's that's the Shir Hamalos. That's in this. Now, by the way, where else do we find this idea? Who else tried to do this? Moshe Rabbeinu. When he davened to go into Eretz Yisrael, he davened 515 prayers. It's gematria ve'eschanon. Because Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to break what? He wanted to break the status quo. The rule was he can't go in. He wanted to be mamshech or. So he kept on davening, 515. You know what happened when he got to 515? God told him not another word, be quiet. Because had Moshe Rabbeinu been able to daven one more, he would have achieved it. But he got just to that. He capped out right at that point. And the Abraham didn't let him pass that point. The Inyan HaKadosh HaBeis, and the Inyan of the Kadosh of Beis. That's the first Kadosh. Okay, so now we did the first Kadosh. Now we got to figure out what's the second Kadosh. The second Kadosh is downloading. The first Kadosh was uploading ourselves out of ourselves. That's the idea. We upload ourselves out of our vessels, out of our identity, to nullify ourselves, to recognize that there is infinitely greater than us, and that we should be, and in that reality we don't even exist, we're so nothing. And then from that perspective, we re-download ourselves back into ourselves, but with a whole new idea of, that's the second Kaddish. The Inyan HaKadosh HaBeis, and what's the second Kaddish? The Pirish B'rei Mehem that explains that Mehem, and after that light is shining, it then shines al kursai, on its throne. What does that mean? The Iu Shamayim, which is heaven. It goes back down to the midos that are called heaven. The Inin Shamayim, and these heavens, Taivin L'dichtayu, return to their place. Now, first it shines into the midos when the midos are up there. That's the first thing. And then, now the heavens go back down to their place. And they settle down, Bahu Nehiru, with that light. Ukedein Ikra Kadosh, and then it's called Kadosh. After that, it's drawn from Chachma and Bina, Lva'er Anpin, to the Zah, for Inyan, and this is the idea. What does this mean? Sheteferes the Emor. Now, in Kabbalistic terminology, this means, what's this Hamshacha from Chachma and Bina down to the Zeir Anpin? It means that the Zeir Anpin is going to get a crown. It's going to get a much higher. What does a crown mean? Crown means a transcendental energy, much higher than it had before. It's so infinite, it can't even fit inside. It's Ein Sof. It's going to get a crown from where? From Emor, from its mother, from Bina. That's the idea that the Teferes element of Emor, Nasa Keser Lazah, becomes a Keser to the Zeir Anpin. Piddish, Shal Yedei Aliyas, and what's the explanation? Shal Yedei Aliyas Havav the Kadosh, when the Vav of Kadosh ascends, Bekodesh, in the Kodesh, without the Vav, Shehu Lamata Mibchinas, Shehu Lamata, which down here, how does it happen? Mibchinas Allah Asman, that happens from our raising of feminine waters. B'mesiris nefesh, that when a Yid says Kriya Shema with Mesiris nefesh, he activates this Inyan, Shal Yedei Zanase Yichud Abba V'Ima Kana, which this causes this Yichud of Abba V'Ima, like we mentioned earlier. V'az Nasem Ezeh Achakach, and then it becomes afterwards Liyos Teferes the Emor, that the Teferes the Emor Keser Lazah. That means a Hashpa from Bina. Chachma gives to Bina, and then from Bina it shines it down to Malchus. Not to Malchus, to Zeir Anpin. V'zeu HaKadosh HaBeis, that's the second Kadosh. From Shachazu, and how do you activate this downloading? The first thing is accomplished through Kriya Shema, Mesiris Nefesh. How do you activate this? The Samshachos are the Esek HaTorah. Now, through Torah study, you cause this download. Ayin be'etz Chaim Sharchav Beis Perigimel. Look at Eitz Chaim. The Nishmas HaKeser Dezah, the soul of Keser of the Zeir Anpin, whom Teferes the Abba. In other words, even though it's Teferes the Emor, we said it's the Teferes of the mother, But the neshama of it is Teferes of Abba, Teferes of Chacham. Why does he bring that? What does he want to explain with that? Maybe because, what is he saying? Since the pnimius of it is really coming from Chachma, so what it really means, it's not a new thing. It's the very hamshacha that happened earlier from Chachma to Bina. The pnimius of it is from Chachma. The Teferes of Chachma gives to the Teferes of Emor. And from there it goes down to the Zeir Anpin. So this is the idea of what we said earlier, through the yichud of Chachma and Bina, now it goes down. Dafka through this yichud is the keser comes down. Bina on her own can't give it. It's after she receives from Chachma, which really means Orein Soif, she can pass it down. And the explanation of the matter is as follows. The Ein Sof, like his name, so he truly is. Ein lo tchila, he has no beginning. Ve'ein lo tichla, and he has no end. V'chol ha'olamos netzlu, and all the worlds were emanated, v'nivru, and they were created, b'machshava echad levad, in one thought. All worlds from the Ein Sof, all worlds were created with one tiny little flash of a thought. V'zau inyan, and this is the idea. Tzoife umabit at tzoif kol hadoros. That God scans all of history in one split second of a thought. From the beginning of time until the end of all of history and all of time. Because it's all one thought. V'hainu b'skira achas, in one, all the zois, and therefore, since all the sum totality of all of existence, including all the spiritual worlds and everything that happens to everybody, and it's all just one thought. So for Hashem to contract himself into that thought and to think it, why would he? Is a big deal. Meaning it takes tremendous self-restraint on God to consider this one thought. It's a powerful contraction. That the Eibusha should contract himself, so to speak, into this one thought. Now, the beginning of creation, there was no one to stimulate it. The Eibusha did this on his own. Because the Eibusha desires kindness. Since he desires kindness, he did it on his own. Meaning out of his own volition, there was nobody to stimulate it. But now, now we need to do something from below, to raise feminine waters. We need to create by God this desire to want to kvetch himself into this one thought, to want to emanate this one thought. That the Eibishter should want to contract himself to enliven the worlds. Zeir Anpin is really where the worlds begin. Because Zeir Anpin are the 6 or 7 emotions, and that's the 7 days of the week, or the 6 directions, time and space. It's all beginning as Zeir Anpin. And that's what we say. That's a very tremendous lowering. That means that even after the Oyer is already in Bina, for it to go down to Zeir Anpin, which is actually coming into worlds, is a great descent. So we need to do something, and that's this hamshacha, that Bina sends down the Teferes, the Emor, to go down to be the crown to Zah. What's the crown? Crown always means desire. That the Eibusha should have a ratzon, he should have a desire to think that thought. Evoking that desire. Shakeser hainu ratzon, which is the will. For hamshachas haratzon, there should be a hamshacha of desire, that the Eibusha should want the Zeir Anpin of Atzilus. Because in truth, gam bechinas Atzilus, even Atzilus, which is so vast and so unbelievable, that too is a tremendous contraction by him, Yisbarach. Why? Because Atzilus is from the words Vaya'atzel, and he emanated min haruach from the spirit of Moshe, and he gave it to the Zekanim. So when we think about it, let's take Moshe Rabbeinu and let's take the Zakenim. The elders got prophecy. Remember when Moshe complained to God that I can't handle the people myself. And God said, I'm going to give you assistants. I'm going to give you 70 elders. And you're going to shine from your prophecy onto them, and then they will take care of the people, help you. So that's what he did. So now when they got prophecy, we could imagine that they had an incredible upgrade. These were they must have been great people, but for them to become channels of divine energy, oh wow. So this upgraded them unbelievably. So to them it was like and until then when they looked at Moshe Rabbeinu, did they really appreciate Moshe? No, but when they got this little bit of ray, they had a little bit of a something of Moshe. Wow, this is like Moshe Rabbeinu is the source, and they're just a tiny little ray of that they're receiving it. But to Moshe Rabbeinu, to them it's wow. But to Moshe Rabbeinu, from his perspective, looking at what their tiny bit that they're getting, is that something? It's a little crumb. It's just a tiny emanation from it. So for what to them is revelation, to Moshe it's contraction. So that's what he's saying regarding the whole world of Atzilus. To us, it's like illumination, because before Atzilus we know nothing about God. And through Atzilus we know that the Eibishter is kind, he's compassionate, he's wisdom. So he's giving us some kind of a revelation. But to the Eibishter, it's Adarabah. It's not revelation, it's concealment. Because who he is and what he truly is, the Or Ein Sof, that's the real light. But that he can't share, because no one, so he has to contract himself and make believe he's human. That's a tremendous, tremendous limiting, self-imposed limitation on God. So what to us is light is to him darkness. And that's why he has to really be inspired to lower himself down into this thought. And how do we stimulate that? Through Torah study, as we're going to see. On the one hand, you say Atzilus means a ray and a revelation of Hashem. But the Eitzalam Makablim, to the recipient, Nikrib Chenes Atzilus, so then Atzilus is called Giloy Menahelim. It's called a revelation from the concealed. Because why? Shehu Yizbarach Einay Musik, because God is not at all Musik, is not apprehensible. V'hu Anelam, and he is concealed, Tamira the Kol Tamir, and he's hidden beyond all kinds of, he's hidden of all hidden. V'Atzilus Umashe Nimshach B'Chenes Giloy. Atzilus is what is drawn to be revealed. But looking at it from God's perspective, from his side, it's the opposite. In front of him, he's not concealed from himself, so he knows who he is. And in order for him to emanate something that we should appreciate, which is Atzilus, which is revelation to the recipients, that requires an unbelievable contraction. This Atzilus is called concealment to him. The main light remains concealed in him, and it's not revealed at all in Atzilus. What us it's called revelation, by Hashem it's called concealment. As the Zohar says, the Zohar puts it very strongly, the Keser Elyon, even beyond Atzilus. Keser Elyon, the supernal crown, which is like the most blinding, which to us actually it's called darkness, but it's the source of Atzilus. Even though it's such a brilliant light, it's considered darkness, in front of the cause of all causes. What Keser is like to him it's dark because he's preparing for Atzilus with the lights of Keser. It's a tremendous contraction. The Keser, the lights and the revelations of Keser, Nikra Choshech Vehelem, is considered darkness and concealed Legabe Ein Sof Baruch Hu, to the Ein Sof. That is known that Keser Nikra Atzilus Sheba Atzilus. Now, and we know that Keser is called Atzilus of Atzilus. So since even on Keser, which is Atzilus of Atzilus, we say that it's dark, how much more so, not Atzilus of Atzilus, but Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya of Atzilus, which is the world of Atzilus itself, that for sure is considered dark. This to the Esespheres is called Atzilus, which means revelation, Vigiloi. By the spheres of Atzilus, they give everything that they should experience the lights of Keser. To them, the lights of Keser is unbelievable. Yeah, but to the Eibishter himself, in a sense, I don't want to say the word, it's like pathetic, that light. It's dark. Mitama now, because of the reason we said before. Since this revelation is through concealment, Ikra or the main light. And he gives another idea for this. That the Eibishter contracted his Shechina. Chazal, when they want to use the fact, they explain the idea that God reveals himself in the Beis HaMikdash. They said that the Eibishter contracted his light between the two poles of the Aron. What does this mean? He contracted his light between the two poles of the Aron. Hashem is everywhere. Where is he not? There's no place devoid of him. And his glory fills everywhere. Heaven and earth I fill, God says. So Piddush HaMagid, it's nice that in this Maimer we had 2 times Piddush HaMagid, 2 times a Piddush of the Mezritch HaMagid. And the Magid explained, in the whole world, even though the Eibishter fills everywhere, he's concealed. From the world. That's why he's called concealed. God is everywhere, but we don't connect to him, we don't see him. Between the two poles of the Aron, over there he revealed himself. Over there, when the Kohen Gadol went in there or whatever, over there it was revealed. But this revelation itself is called Tzimtzum. Is a contraction to him. Who's stima the kol stimim, because he is concealed of all concealments. He can't reveal only a ray. That's why every level of revelation, it's a a little example for this. Just like a teacher. You have a teacher who's now thinking very deeply into a concept. They're thinking very deeply. And they put all their mental energy, their entire intelligence, and their entire thought process is completely consumed. There's no room to think anything else. They're deeply, deeply, deeply contemplating this idea. And while the teacher is deeply, deeply engrossed in this depth of thought, the teacher actually says a couple of words. They're talking to themselves, and they're saying some kind of a phrase. If you would record that and then show the teacher those few words that he said, those words are pathetic compared to where he was. He said a few words just to he's identifying certain things with words. But to the students, they have no clue that hidden world of the teacher. To them, they can only dissect, they can only work with those words. And they say, wow, the master said so and so. And they run around and they teach the whole country that the master said so and so. Now the master only said so and so, this tiny short little phrase, because he was deep in thought and something way, way deeper, and this was just a little tail end of it that he said. But to the students, they don't know that. So they can only know, to them this is revelation. That's the idea he's saying. The ray of intelligence that went out into the speech, is considered naught, to the bulk of the depth of this idea that's in his thought. But it wasn't revealed at all in speech. But to the student who is listening, to him the teacher's speech is by him revelation. And the thought of the teacher, that's by him concealed. By the teacher, it's the opposite. Whatever he revealed, hu helam is concealed. Moving from all this, it's understood why we need to draw down miteferes the ema from teferes of bina lias keser lezah to be a keser for zeir anpin, because the whole world is like that small little murmur that the teacher murmurs, or that whole world is just that one little thought. So you need to energy, you have to be a will for it. Zah is the midas of atzilus. Kishemelu boshim ha'oiros bekelim. The Zeir Anpin is really the place where the oiros are really enclosed in vessels. Higher than the Zeir Anpin and Chacham Bina, it's not considered so much vessels. V'nikra chagas, that's already considered chagas. Chesed gevura teferes. Shehem b'chinas seder hanagas ha'olamos. That's already the order, the system of conducting the affairs of the world. This is a great contraction to God. The lav mekol in midas iu klal, he's not in any of these midas. That's why we need to draw to him a will that the Eibishter should desire this tzimtzum, which is the revelation of the midas of Atzilus, which in them is the conducting of the affairs of the world. This is the idea of keser of zah. It's the rotzen that we draw from tferes to ema. Ki ema nikra ein soif, because ema, mother, is still considered ein soif be'erech ze'er anpin. Compared to ze'er anpin, mother bina is considered ein soif. Even though bina compared to chacham is considered yesh, but compared to tferes, she's ein soif. I am be'etz chaim shachaf hey drushay. V'gam, and another thing is, shehis galus atik shu ein soifu bebina. In bina, actually, there's a revelation of atik yomin, which is ein sof is in bina. V'zeu in yana. It's another reason why bina is considered ein sof. V'zeu in yana kadosh hasheni. This is the idea of the second kadosh. So it's amazing. Earlier was a much greater kadosh. Over there, we had to bring even from beyond atzilus into atzilus. That's even higher, and that can only be done through mesiras nefesh. But now, to draw down from one level to the next, here it's not considered a complete, total yesh me'ayin. Take a look at his mashal. You'll see that the mashal is also not yesh me'ayin. Why is the mashal not? What was the mashal he gave? What was the analogy he gave? He gave a teacher who's deep, deep, deep in thought. And the teacher mumbles a couple of words. Those words that the teacher mumbled are specifically related to what he was thinking. You can't say that those words have a complete yesh me'ayin. Why is he saying those words? He's saying those words because they're related to the subject. They're only a tiny infinitesimal piece of the subject, but they're still something of it. It's unlike the earlier difference between Ein Sof and Chachma. There's no connection. Chachma me'ayin timatze. Chachma is not like a few words from a subject. Chachma has no idea of its source. The students have some inkling of what the teacher has been thinking through learning these words. They know the subject only so insignificantly, but they still know something. They at least know that he was thinking about Shabbos, or they know he was thinking about, whatever other mitzvah, or whatever other subject he was learning. They know something of it. That's why this leap is not such a great leap. So we don't need Mesiras Nefesh for that. Limud Torah can channel the light from beyond the worlds, from Bina into Tiferes. And imagine all this. This is the cool thing. Imagine this transition. You said it when you say Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish. We stand in shul and we say Kaddish, Kaddish. Next. You're going through all of this by Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish. It's really amazing. And this is already drawn through Esek HaTorah, because Esek HaTorah comes from Chachma and Bina. Here you want to draw already, this is already energy of Chachma and Bina. The Chachma Bina Nafkes, it comes from Chachma and Bina, and emerges from Chachma and Bina. But that's only after you had Mesiras Nefesh by davening. After you did Allah's man of the first Kadosh, the Mesiras Nefesh be'echad, to have Mesiras Nefesh in echad, Shaydei mamshich in Yichud Ava. Through this, you will mamshich the Yichud of Abba and Ima. Shamshachas or Chadash, which is the drawing of the new light, Ma'amatzah le'elyon from the supernal emanator. Afterwards, Kadosh Habeis, second Kadosh, Hu Mashenimshach Ma'abba ve'Ima. From Abba and Ima is drawn HaKeser L'Zah, the Keser Tezeir Anpin, Keniskaliya. Upirish. Upirish Mashakasa Berei Mehemna. Now the explanation of what it says in Zohar. Nohir Ahi Nihira Ilah Al Korsai. Now the Reya Mehemna refers to, the Zohar refers to this Hamshacha, that it is shining on the throne. The Iu Shamayim, which is heaven. Why is heaven called the throne? It says the heavens are my seat. Since Hashem refers to the heavens as my seat, so you see it's already called the throne. That the Shamayim is Torah, Shamayim is Torah. There's two levels in Torah. This Torah is pure Chachma and Bina. And when Torah is pure Chachma and Bina, it's higher than the heavens. It's above the heavens. But when Torah lowers itself down, the Chachma and Bina goes down into the Midas, that's what we're talking about over here, being Mamshach on Midah, then Torah is called Shamayim. In order for the Torah to lower itself down from Chachma and Bina into Shamayim, Shatayra Kadma, really the Torah is much higher. The Torah precedes the world, Alpayim Shana La'olam. It precedes the world 2,000 years, and now it's going to become part of the Olam, because Olam are the Midas, are the six Midas, the six directions. The 2,000 years that the Torah precedes the world are the Aleph Chachma, related to Chachma and Bina. I will teach you Chachma, I will teach you Bina, which is transcendent. They're higher than the world. And they're higher than heaven. That's called my seat, because Hashem has to sit down, just like a seat. You lower yourself down when you sit down. This is sitting down. That's why you say, this is cool. I'm ready for a cool one. That's why you say, I'm going to learn in yeshiva. When someone says, I'm going to learn in yeshiva, what does that mean? They're going to direct God's light into a sitting state. Because what do Bachram do in yeshiva? People learn in yeshiva. They study Torah. They bring the Eibush to Chachma and Biz into the Midas, into the world. So they're causing the Eibush to sit down. That means they're going to learn in yeshiva. Yeshiva means, why is everything, learning Torah, why suddenly it became a yeshiva? It's such a strange thing. Yeshiva means you're going to where you're sitting, you're going to sit. Is that, you better not sit, go to work, in case the sitzen do. Nah, you're causing God to sit. And we better need God sitting, because or else the Eibishter is infinitely above. Wow. That's cool. Ein Sham. This is what it says in the Rei Mehemna and Zohar. After it illuminates this Nahira, Al Kursayu, on the yeshiva, on the seat. The Yushamayim, which is the heavens. Kursayu Daika, it's considered a seat. Kisi, heavens on my seat, Kiniskil. How it's drawn from Chachma Bina, the Keset is Eirampin. Hanikra Shamayim, which is called Shamayim. Why the Esekat Torah, which that is accomplished through Esekat Torah. Okay, we're not going to learn the whole rest of the Maimer. I just want to learn at least the beginning of the third Kaddish. So we have, and the next week we can finish. Kaddish Hagimel, and what's the third Kaddish? The third Kaddish is when it continues down further to the level of Tzaddik, which is Yisoid. Shu Yisoid, the Kol Dargan, that's already reaching the lowest, the end of all levels. Shu Pchenas Yisoid, that's the last Darga of the Mashpia, of the Eibishter, and then it becomes Malchus, which is already the recipient. That's already established, not through Torah learning. For that, you have to actually go ahead and do physical mitzvahs of helping people and so on and the like. Kipirish tzaddik. What does tzaddik have to do with mitzvahs ma'asiyos? Because why is a person called tzaddik? Avram was a tzaddik because he did tzedakah. You call the tzaddik when you do mitzvahs. That he guarded the way of God. Tzedakah, to do tzedakah. And what's the idea of tzedakah? Tzedakah hu lahachyois ruach shefalim. Tzedakah means, what are you doing tzedakah? You're coming to enliven the spirit of those who don't have. The spirit of the lowly. When someone receives tzedakah, he's suddenly uplifted. If he's needy and he doesn't have, and suddenly, more than just giving the money for what, you uplifted the person suddenly. It's like he's living, he's breathing, he's like alive. You uplifted the spirit of the lowly. The worlds are all lowly. They don't have life. They're like that. And then when you need the Eibishter to give tzedakah, that means the Hamshacha has to come down into Malchus, into the world, to enliven the actual spirit of the lowly. You're bringing it in the heavens. The heavens are lowly compared to Bina, but the real lowly is the world. To get down to Bria, Yetzirah, and especially the world of Asiyah. So how do you do that? So when you give tzedakah to enliven the spirit of the lowly, it causes above also the Hamshacha to come down from heaven to earth into Yesod that gives tzedakah to Malchus and gives her chayos. V'gam kol mitzvahs, and so to all the other mitzvahs, nikra tzedakah, are also called tzedakah. Like it says, where do you see that all mitzvahs are called tzedakah? It says tzedakah tiyalanu, it will be a tzedakah to us, ki nishmar, when we will observe to do all the mitzvahs. The drawing down the light to the level of tzaddik. Which from tzaddik it's going to be drawn down into malchus. The source of bria, tzir, and asiyah. So where they are mitzvahs ma'asiyos, this is through the physical mitzvahs. And we're going to stop over here. The explanation of it. What's the difference between Torah and mitzvahs? That we're going to leave already, Be'ezus Hashem, for next week, Thursday night. We're going to finish this mitzvah, this mimer of Sfartim Lechem. The good old days when I would teach, for 5 hours are pretty much over. 3 hours is kind of the max these days, sometimes 4. But the real reason is because I didn't prepare further. I didn't prepare further. The Ikkas thing is that we get it all down here.